me tweet it out, and then that way we can do kind of a little pre-announcement thing or something.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll be attending.
I'm all queued up whenever you are ready. For context, it's Warrior met in Wall Street Greed what corporate raiders are doing to workers and consumers, and it's Bernie Sanders speaking. I'm not going to bring too many speakers up while we're listening. When we're done, though, we'll bring some people up to talk. And then I'll have to cut off at 4:15 so we can rehost another call for Sugar's piece tonight, which I hope everybody comes to join to hear Sugar's story on how he became an American citizen and an ape. It's gonna be a pretty good one. Pretty awesome dude. Naturalization is very important to me. Very important topic.
I just want to say I already kind of pre-listened a little bit, and he hit some major points. If everyone can do us a favor, if you can, tweet out the call just so more people see it and can get in here. I think this is really important for people to hear.
Well, he got run over by the DNC on the last election. He should have been the Democratic candidate, and he's been really big on fighting Wall Street. So to see what's going on now, I'm sure he looks like he's pissed just in the preview. Boy, that scowl on his face is no joke. So I'm excited to hear what he wants to say. And I'm not even a real big Bernie Sanders fan or nothing, but there are things that he does that his wants to change on Wall Street and such are important to me. So
yeah, he is coming out swinging. He's mentioning how there are top 3 banks who basically control all of the wealth. He's talking about how they're putting retail out of business and many jobs to go along with it, including, he even mentioned by name, Toys R Us. I mean, this is a big deal. I don't care politically where you stand. This isn't what it's about. I mean, I understand some people are for Bernie, some people are against him, whatever. That's not what it's about. He's a senator, and he is nailing Wall Street greed right now, and I just think it's like highly important that people hear what he has to say. It's so relative to what we're going through and battling right now.
Absolutely.
He's talking about the consolidation of 3 or 4 major players that control basically all the industry. It's really interesting. I'm glad you started this call, Spence. I was just listening to some of what he was saying.
Tara's idea, totally.
Oh, well, hey, there you go.
I'm just IT, baby. I'm just the IT guy.
Yeah, Spence just has the ability to do it so immediately. I literally was like, Spence, can we do this? And he's like, I'm on it, and then did it. So it's perfect. Thank you so much, Spence.
Yep.
For me, I feel like between all of the issues I have with Twitter and getting rugged on these calls, and then the glitches, it just is like, it's a mess for me. I don't know. I guess we could go ahead and just get going.
Sure.
Hopefully people tweet out the call, share it out, and get people in here. It looks like there's some weird glitches already going on the invite. So if you guys can, just please share it out so people see that we're in here.
Just for note, if you talk during the call, you'll hear the feedback reloop, Tara and Flip. So don't get confused if you hear your own voice if you do come up to talk. Just let me know and I'll mute it real quick and then we can replay it. So here we go.
Drop out, bro. Thank you.
Yep.
Can you make sure to invite, here, actually, I'll send a couple private invites as well.
Yeah, I should DM it out too. Figured Jay Brett and Joey might want to jump in on this too. I don't know if they're busy or not, but. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start it.
We'll be attending this hearing, and our witnesses will be with us this morning. We'll be attending this hearing, and our witnesses will be with us this morning. Today, we are going to discuss the issue of enormous consequence, but which unfortunately is not talked about enough, not talked about enough here in Congress, not talked enough about in the media. And that is the incredible concentration of ownership and power that a handful of Wall Street investment firms have over our entire economy, and the enormous impact they have on workers, consumers, and virtually every person in our country. Today in America, just three Wall Street firms, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, manage $22 trillion in assets. Let me repeat that. Three companies manage $22 trillion in assets. So what does that mean? Well, for starters, it means that the amount of money these three firms control is nearly equal to the entire gross domestic product, the GDP of the United States. Three companies and more than 5 times the GDP of Germany. These three firms, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, are major shareholders in more than 96% of S&P 500 companies. In other words, they have significant influence over many hundreds of companies that employ millions of American workers and, in fact, enormous impact over our entire economy. Let's talk about banking. We all remember that after the Wall Street crash of 2008, there was a whole lot of discussion about the wealth and the power of the major banks that were, quote unquote, too big to fail. You all remember that? Well, these three Wall Street investment firms that we're talking about today are the largest shareholders of some of the biggest banks in America, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, and Citibank. In other words, they have enormous influence over enormous banks. Let's talk about transportation. These three Wall Street firms are among the top owners of all 4 major airlines: American, Southwest, Delta, and United. What about healthcare? Everybody is concerned about healthcare, the cost of healthcare in America. Together, these three firms own an average of 20% of the major drug companies in America. Wall Street firms in general have bought up thousands of nursing homes. Everybody is concerned about the quality, cost of nursing homes. They bought up thousands of nursing homes where profits have been soaring at the same time as mortality rates have gone up as well. These three firms are also responsible for the astronomical prices at emergency rooms. Yes, three firms own emergency rooms in hospitals all across this country, increasing prices by over 60% and driving over 500,000 Americans into bankruptcy each year. These three firms will tell you that they are passive investors, that they are not involved in the day-to-day decisions of the companies they own. But let us be clear. These three companies control nearly 1/4 of votes at shareholder meetings, leveraging their power to influence CEO compensation, stock buybacks, environmental commitments, mergers, and pension benefits. In addition to the big three, a small handful of Wall Street vulture funds, so-called private equity firms, also have an enormous control over industry after industry after industry. Over the past 2 decades, private equity takeovers have slashed nearly 1.3 million jobs and shut down nearly 20,000 stores in the retail industry, including Toys R Us, Payless, and Dollar General. Let's talk about housing. Last year, a small number of Wall Street firms and other extremely wealthy investors bought about 1 out of every 7 homes in some of the largest cities in America, and now own over 1 million apartments, hiking rents by as much as 30% and neglecting needed repairs on the safety of tenants. And interestingly enough, if you haven't heard much about the power of these Wall Street firms, well, it may have something to do with the fact that a small number of Wall Street firms control about half of the newspapers in America. Now, we are talking about a small number of Wall Street firms that buy up companies, load them up with debt, and make a huge amount of money by laying off workers, slashing wages, shipping jobs overseas, and eliminating health care and pension benefits. According to recent studies, after these Wall Street firms take over companies as a result of leveraged buyouts, jobs are slashed by 13%, wages fall by 6%, and the companies that Wall Street firms take over are 10 times more likely to declare bankruptcy. When we talk about power in America, many people think that, the President of the United States, pretty powerful guy, he is the most powerful person in this country. Well, frankly, I am not so sure. Given the enormous power that the CEOs of these extremely large Wall Street financial firms have over our economy, it may well be that these guys are more powerful than the President of the United States. And that brings us to where we are today with Warrior Met Coal in Brookwood, Alabama, where workers have been engaged in a strike for 11 months, fighting for economic justice, fighting for dignity on the job. In 2016, a group of private equity funds led by Apollo and Blackstone acquired Walter Energy and formed Warrior Met Coal. As part of the restructuring, workers were forced to take a $6 per hour wage cut, over 20% of their wages, and massive cuts to their health care and retirement benefits. The concessions the miners made 5 years ago saved Warrior Met $1.1 billion. Let's be clear. The workers agreed to these cuts with the understanding that they would be restored when the company returned to profitability. That is not what happened. While Warrior Met has returned to profitability and could afford to pay its CEO, Walter J. Scheller III, $4 million in compensation each year, it has reneged on that deal and is offering workers an insulting $1.50 raise spread, $1.50 over 5 years, about 30 cents an hour increase over 5 years, while refusing to restore the health care and pension benefits that were taken away from them in 2016. Now, so everybody should understand this, I invited Mr. Scheller, the CEO of Warrior Met, to testify at this hearing. He was invited. I wanted to ask him how, over the last 5 years, Warrior Met could afford to provide $1.5 billion in stock buybacks and dividends to its wealthy shareholders and huge bonuses to its executives, but somehow could not afford to treat its workers with the dignity and respect they deserve. Once again, concessions made by the workers totaled $1.1 billion over 5 years. Stock buybacks and dividends over the same period totaled $1.5 billion. I invited for this hearing Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock and the largest shareholder of Warrior Met, to testify at this hearing. My hope was, and my hope remains, that Mr. Fink will do the right thing and demand that Warrior Met's management sit down with their workers and negotiate a contract in good faith. Unfortunately, Mr. Fink has declined to testify. Further, I invited Stephen Schwartzman and Mark Rowan, the CEOs of Blackstone and Apollo, to testify at this hearing as well. Unfortunately, all of them declined to participate. The good news is, however, that we have a number of excellent witnesses who are not afraid to come before the public and answer questions. They include Braxton Wright, a worker at Warrior Met, Cecil Roberts, the president of the United Mine Workers of America. Our last panel will include several economists who have studied and written extensively on this issue. Let me just be very clear about this. What is happening at Warrior Met is not an aberration. It is not an exception to the rule. At a moment of unprecedented corporate greed in this country, attacks against working people are taking place in company after company, industry after industry. And here is a dangerous reality. Never before in the history of the United States of America have so few owned so much and had so much power over our economy. This extraordinary concentration of ownership held by Wall Street over our economy is an issue that Congress and the American people must deal with. And with that, let me introduce Senator Brown and recognize him for his opening remarks. Senator?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate how far witnesses have traveled to come here today to discuss this. It's a multifaceted discussion. This is the Budget Committee. And I think the whole issue of concentration in industry, I came from Main Street America, where we had no help from government, and we didn't have any of the crony capitalist things that occur largely through this place that gives a leg up to many industries. I'll cite that in the classic way the economy should work, you should have full competition, no barriers to entry. You should have an engaged and informed consumer. Those are the elements that make capitalism and free markets work. Sadly, over time, they evolve in a different way. But I'll go back to my original point. This is the Budget Committee, and I'm not sure that this is the jurisdiction that we can discuss it. Of course, the chair can discuss whatever he wants to. I think there's validity in looking at some of those issues. I'm going to focus on what I think we should be doing, and that's talking about the fact that we just recently eclipsed $30 trillion in debt as a country. The senator and I have had a vibrant discussion on the floor, reaching about 26 to 27 minutes 6-7 months ago. And I know there's a difference of opinion there too. But when it comes to how any entity works, you cannot borrow from your kids and grandkids on things that you are consuming, as much as we'd like to do it for whatever the benefit is that might accrue. It's a bad business plan. It'll run into the ditch in a hard way, and we'll have to reconcile it down the road to where currently we ought to be looking at the drivers of it, which would be Medicare, Social Security, programs everybody would want to be there and to be in sound shape. We keep plowing ahead now with $1.5 trillion deficits baselined, taking us into that next tier of indebtedness. It will not be a good ending for all the people that depend on it, mostly elderly, for their retirement and their health care. What I'd like to do is get back to the essence of this committee, which means that we do regular order, discuss these things, not talking about spending, a CR vote that we're going to have later today, where we're talking about a budget that should have been worked on last year, finished with all appropriations done by September 30th, 2021. That's not running the place very well for all the people that depend upon it. In this particular dispute with workers and mine, that's probably not the domain of the Budget Committee, although I understand the relevance of it. It probably should be kept in the private sector because it's currently part of a legal dispute. Now look at what the Biden administration did when it got the reins. We had 1% inflation. We were raising wages in the toughest places, the old-fashioned way. We weren't making government the centerpiece of our lives. I understand through frustration how it's easy to go there. But you look at some of the first moves. And now, remember, we're asking OPEC to produce more oil when we shut down the Keystone XL pipeline. We were stopping exploration and drilling on our federal lands. And I'm the guy that started the climate caucus here on the Republican side, and I believe in the long run, the cleanest, least expensive fuel is going to win the day. But we can't ignore the things that we should be doing, like budgets through regular order, like remaining energy independent in the short run, so that we're not in positions like we currently find ourselves. We're 100% dependent for 17 key mineral resources, and a lot of the new technology that we'll be addressing climate issues with. Who's cornering the market? It's China. And when we get diverted, and when we don't do budgets, when we get down a trail that's unsustainable, we're going to end up with problems and issues that are going to be far greater than what we're talking about here today. American families want us to get a few things right. They want us to live within our means. They don't want us to borrow money from their kids and their grandkids, and we should all be working together in the proper jurisdiction to address these issues. But when it comes to the Budget Committee, I think we ought to stay more focused on it, and I know that it hasn't been popular to do it the old-fashioned way. We've only put a budget together, I think, once in the last 20 years. I'll end with this quote from Admiral Mike Mullen, and this is from Defense. And I think part of the problem here in D.C. is that we roll over for each other's needs. Republicans for defense when we hold it sacrosanct, and we don't require it to do audits. The other side of the aisle getting way ahead of its skis when we can't afford it, even though it might be well-intentioned. He said, as it relates to defense, and we're looking at it right now with Putin peering into Ukraine, and I fear red ink more than I do the red menace. And I think that's a good statement that ought to be put into practice and that we ought to look at for across this federal government.
Thank you, Senator Brown. We are pleased today to have two United States senators with us who will be making remarks. We begin with Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, who is the chair of the Senate Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee's Economic Policy Subcommittee. She has spent years studying and writing about all things relating to private equity and asset management industries, and is a champion of working people in this country. Senator Warren, thanks so much for being with us.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your inviting me to participate in this hearing, and I appreciate the powerful work that you have been doing on the issue of economic concentration. You are an extraordinary and a tireless leader, and I am honored to be in this fight with you. So, thanks to you, today we have the opportunity to discuss the very real impact that private equity and Wall Street giants have had on workers and communities across this country. For nearly a year, more than 1,100 Warrior Met coal miners in Brookwood, Alabama have been on strike. They are striking for nothing more than what they are owed: fair pay, fair benefits, and fair working conditions. All of these were stripped away when giant vulture private equity firms swooped in to buy Warrior Met's predecessor company, Walter Energy, as it went through bankruptcy. Apollo, Blackstone, and the other private equity firms that bought Walter Energy in 2016 presented themselves as saviors, here to save the company, here to save jobs, here to save the day. But it was all hype. They showed up because they smelled profits, and they planned to boost those profits by crushing the company's workers. These private equity firms terminated the miners' collective bargaining agreement with United Mine Workers. They forced a pay cut of more than 20% on workers. They cut medical, leave, and retirement benefits. And just to juice their profits a little more, they ended the company's pension and health obligations to 2,800 retired coal miners and their families. Private equity was the driving force behind all of this. The private equity investors in Warrior Met dictated the terms and conditions of the 2016 takeover of the company, and those same private equity investors continue to bear responsibility for the cuts in pay and the benefits that have pressed workers to the wall and led to the current Warrior Met's miners' strike. Coal mining is dangerous work. The hours are long, the tasks are backbreaking. But when private equity took over, miners were told that all that hard work just didn't produce enough revenue to give the workers the protection and the security that they had earned. Money was supposedly tight, but the investors, Apollo, Blackstone, and the other private equity firms, what happened to them? They made out like bandits. They ran the same play that private equity has run over and over and over. They loaded Warrior Met up with debt, and then they used that debt to pay nearly $800 million in dividends to themselves and other shareholders. And then, after sucking as much cash for themselves out as they possibly could, private equity sold off their shares and moved along to the next victims. Warrior Met miners are on strike today because private equity ripped them off. What happened to Warrior Met workers is what happens when these billion-dollar Wall Street firms come to town. Private equity squeezes as much as they can out of the companies and their employees, and when they think there's nothing left to squeeze, they leave everyone else in the dirt. Nationwide, private equity's takeover of retail has killed more than 1.3 million jobs over the last decade. It is responsible for jacking up prices for consumers in everything from education to healthcare. The arrival of private equity can even be a matter of life and death. Research shows that when private equity takes over a nursing home, short-term mortality rates jump by about 10%. But even as they keep raking in billions of dollars in fees, the typical private equity fund hasn't managed to outperform the stock market since at least 2006. Think about that. They strip assets and squeeze workers with frightening energy, but they don't actually make a better rate of return than the average mutual fund. All that destruction comes with a lot of high overhead costs, and the result is only modest returns to investors. Now, this is why I introduced my Stop Wall Street Looting Act in 2019, and why I reintroduced it a few months ago, so we can put an end to predatory and dangerous private equity practices. This is not about killing private equity. It's about fixing the system and protecting workers and communities. My bill would prevent private equity firms from walking away after driving companies into the ground and leaving workers in the dirt. My bill prioritizes worker pay in the bankruptcy process and strengthens the rules so that workers are more likely to receive severance, pension, and other pay that they earned. My bill creates incentives for job retention so that workers like Warrior Mets can benefit from a company's second chance in bankruptcy. And my bill ends the immunity of private equity firms from legal liabilities when those companies break the law. When workers at a plant are shortchanged or residents at a nursing home are hurt because private equity firms force it to cut corners, private equity should be on the hook. So, Mr. Chairman, I thank you again for allowing me to testify today, and I appreciate your partnership on these issues. I'm going to keep fighting to end the outrageous practices of private equity firms. I'm going to keep fighting to turn the Stop Wall Street Looting Act into law, and I'm going to keep fighting to make sure that Warrior Met workers get what they are rightfully owed. Thank you.
Senator Warren, thank you very much. Our next panelist is Senator Tommy Tuberville, who is the junior senator from the state of Alabama, the home of the Warrior Met Coal Company. Senator Tuberville, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Chairman Sanders and Ranking Member Braun. Thank you for the opportunity to testify before the Senate Budget Committee on an issue that directly impacts my state of Alabama. And with that, I want to first welcome my constituent, Braxton Wright, who will be testifying on the next panel. Next, I want to associate myself with the remarks made by Ranking Member Braun. While this is not the first time the chairman has directly involved himself in union dealings in my home state of Alabama, I want to make it clear and on the record, I do not believe the Budget Committee has a jurisdiction over matters involving labor practices across our country. If a hearing like this should take place at all, it should be in front of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pension Committee, better known as HELP, which I am a member. That being said, I think it is inappropriate for Congress to weigh in on labor disputes which are properly being resolved through the judicial system. Workers in private companies across our nation have the right to decide whether they want to join a union or not. My home state of Alabama is a right-to-work state, and we're proud of that fact. Our workers are not forced to join a union. They have the right to decide, and there is some companies operating in Alabama that have workforces who voted to have a union in place. So to me, it's clear that the purpose of this hearing is for the majority to push a political agenda. This hearing is what I call the dream Democrat political parlay, where members can be pro-union, anti-Wall Street, and anti-mining production all in one hearing. I want to make sure the record accurately reflects the facts and figures of what is being discussed today with Warrior Met Coal, located in Brookwood, Alabama. The jobs at Warrior Met Coal pay an average wage of over $97,000 annually. This is one of the top average wages in the state. Since Warrior Met Coal was established in 2016, it has created an additional 600 jobs. On April 1st, 2021, Warrior Met workers initiated a strike. 4 days later, on April the 5th, the International Union Mine Workers of America accepted a contract proposal by Warrior Met. However, the local union membership took a vote and did not ratify it. Since then, it is my understanding that there have been 9 contract proposals offered by Warrior Met to union officials, but none of these offers have been presented to the Alabama union workforce for a vote. How can the workforce get back to work if they are not shown the latest offers on the table? That doesn't make sense. And again, neither does this venue. The Budget Committee or Congress in general is not the proper place to litigate a labor dispute between private companies and workforce. Clearly, Congress has enacted laws and established agencies and practices to handle these exact type of labor disputes. Our federal courts and the Department of Labor's National Labor Relations Board, or NLRB, have already made multiple decisions in this case. I strongly question the overt political influence of this hearing and the strong pro-union stance of this committee. Actions like holding this hearing seek to call into question the judicial system and labor ruling decisions of the NLRB. I want to make it clear, Congress does not have any decision-making authority between Warrior Met Coal and the union members, nor should we get involved in how they work out their own labor agreements. Congress has decision-making authority over the federal budget and how much money our government spends. That is what I think the committee should be paying attention to, not the labor disputes in private companies in Alabama. We have to get our physical house in order. Inflation has engulfed our economy. Families face bare grocery shelves, and gas is more than $5 a gallon in some places. Our national debt has gone over $30 trillion. That amounts to a credit bill for $240,000 per taxpayer in this country. We need to return to free market enterprise with less government intervention. In closing, it is my hope that Warrior Met Coal and the union workforce can come to a beneficial agreement for all involved, and that Congress will not try to tip the scales in one direction. We must get Americans to work so that our economy can once again thrive. I thank the committee for their time and consideration for my comments. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Senator Tuberville. And now we will hear from the second panel. Okay. This panel will consist of Cecil Roberts, who is the International President of the United Mine Workers of America. President Roberts is a sixth-generation coal miner raised in Kanawha County, West Virginia. He rallies with Warrior Met workers on the picket line in Alabama every week. Our second panelist is Braxton Wright, who is a mine employee at Warrior Met and a member of the United Mine Workers, Local 2368. He has worked at the Brookfield Mine for 17 years and has been on strike since April 1st, 2021. We have also invited, as I mentioned earlier, to this hearing, the CEO of Warrior Met, Walter J. Scheller III. Unfortunately, he has chosen not to be with us. We will now hear from Cecil Roberts, the International President of the United Mine Workers of America. Mr. Roberts, thanks so much for being with us.
Well, thank you, Senator, for scheduling this hearing and inviting us to participate. We appreciate the willingness to hear from workers here today. I want to thank Ranking Member Braun also for allowing us to be here today, and the panelists here, or the senators here on this committee. My good friend Senator Kane is here.
The heart, but for me it keeps changing back to purple, like going back to the top. But anyway, I think it would be awesome to let people up to discuss what was just said. That was like, I just feel like that was a huge swings coming out by Bernie, by Senator Warren, and yeah, Apollo is a deep topic that we should definitely look at and maybe discuss here. I don't know. I see Jay Breton here too. Anybody, if you want to come up, we can open the room up and discuss what just happened.
I think the mine workers thing,
I worked in Alabama for 7, 8 years at Redstone, and I've actually met Tommy Tuberville. What he said is pretty accurate about Alabama, but I think the whole point is the mine workers thing is opening the door to go after these shit companies that put these companies like AMC and all these other industries in the dirt by doing exactly what Bernie Sanders said. So I think it was her doorway to say what she needed to say. And both of them came out very fiery and very, very direct against certain companies, which makes me assume the DOJ is hot on the trail with some of these big time funds and big time companies.
Did you finish your thoughts, Spence? I don't want to interrupt you.
No, I am done.
I want to
Mark
make it
still has the 100, and I'm super jealous. Sorry, Joey.
No, it's okay. Sorry, Joey.
I'm getting.
No, no worries.
I've actually talked to Twitter. That's where I've been, and they're making a 109 for me.
That's very fitting, Mark. That is very fitting indeed.
I literally.
I want to. You know, what's really interesting. I tuned in. I think at the right time today. You know, this is the platform to which Bernie, you could just call it the progressive left, has been on for a very, very long time. But what I liked more specifically was the details to which they went in on specific companies. That's what resonated with me specifically. And to Spence's point, is very telling. And I think it's a bit of a scare tactic to others that are involved to like, get your shit straight because we're coming for you. Okay, it's not very common politicians name specific companies in that way. And it's a little bit of fear mongering intentionally, I felt. So that was fascinating to me, but nonetheless, I regress.
Absolutely. It's not common for these guys to come out in the same setting with that type of energy and really go after these guys who are the same guys, the same people we've been fighting against for over a year, you guys. These names are not new names if you're just joining. We've talked about Apollo and Adam Aaron's history with it and the things they do. And I'll tell everybody on YouTube too, everybody's like, man, my blood is boiling right now because they're so pumped up over this. So what's up, Darth? Darth? Okay. If you're muted, you gotta unmute.
I think Ray was waiting next, and then Darth.
Yeah, Sir Ray, Darth, and then Carlton.
Go for it, Sue.
Okay, real quick. I agree with both sides on certain issues. I don't agree with either side on all this shit. But if you go back to the Supreme Court, who filed the first proposal against having a minimum wage? It was the workers at a company that were going to get fucked because the government told that company they had to spend that money to pay those people, and those people were going to get laid off because that company couldn't afford to do that. So the first ruling against the minimum wage was by workers. And you can look all this shit up. Now, as far as Warren, AOC, and the rest of them go on the stock market, okay, I agree 100% on that. But then I've met Tommy Tuberville, too, several times. He's right on some of the stuff he's doing, but he's wrong on some of the stuff he's doing. We all got to pick the stuff that we agree on and fix that. That's what worries me about this. After AMC, everybody splinters off and goes their own way. We have the biggest group of people that can fix. I don't have to agree with you on half of it. But if I agree with you on 50%, then let's go fix the shit we agree on. And then we just we can disagree and fight on the rest. That's what kills me. It's like I'm either this side or this side. Hell no. I can see parts of both sides, and we got to quit fighting over the fucking middle. And I'll shut up now.
Ray, I love that, man. Absolutely love that. Like, I said earlier, you probably are actually touching on my comments. That this has been the progressive left platform for a very long time. And what's fascinating about AME, and Spence and I were actually messaging each other back and forth during this, is this is fantastic. I've never seen a movement to where dual IGs come together for a common cause. And this is what it's all about, right? So, like, and let's get fucking paid along the way. So that's great, too.
Well, we talked about this in a past space call where we specifically said it's time. I think the AMC community is the best at controlling political agendas and getting to the there. Everybody should be really proud of themselves. I've specifically said I'm willing to forego my normal political ideologies to laser focus on the key matters that are causing more of the problems, which is money, man. You can solve 90% of our political problems in Congress by following the money. Like the budgeting is messed up. I quit the defense sector because I couldn't stand to see the amount of money that was being wasted on defense research and modifications and maintenance. It's insane. But I think we're all to a point now, and I hope everybody doesn't split off once AMC does what it does. I hope we all stick together and keep fighting the fight for a fair market and a fixed Congress.
I'm old, and I've just seen too many times that somebody that wanted to fix one problem got together and they fixed one problem, and then they all broke up because they didn't agree on the rest of the problems. Yep. Fix one problem and then find one other problem that you agree on and fix that problem and keep the shit together and keep rolling down the road.
My biggest problem, I will say personally, is when I realized how much Kellogg, Brown, and Root was making overseas in Iraq while my friends were getting killed. They were making so much money off the death of American soldiers. It is unreal. And the only reason we stayed over there for as long as we did is because of the companies that went over there after the initial push, like Halliburton. It's absolutely disgusting what happened in Iraq. I'm gonna quit talking about that now.
Yeah, and Schlumberger and a bunch of other of those motherfuckers.
I say socialism had to stop being such a dirty word.
All right, I'm going to step down and listen. Y'all get after it.
Sounds good. George Walt?
Hey, yeah. So, man, see, I'm so torn because I'm honestly, I'm proud that Sanders and Warren stood up and said that and named the names of these companies and put that out there because that is, I think, aggressive for them. However, I also think that there's two parts to this, especially with their colleagues that they share seats next to. So I don't know. With politicians, it's like I love to hear them talk, but I enjoy watching them actually do things. So it's where I see that they've put themselves out there a bit by coming out and saying that. I think the true impression is going to come with what they've actually done after they've spoken. Because, I mean, I think it's been said a million times, words are wind and actions speak louder than them constantly. So for me, I would have liked to have seen them address their colleagues who are benefiting from these companies and the things that they do behind the scenes. However, I also can understand why they wouldn't. So that's maybe why I don't know. That's where I stand on it. Is I want to see where we go next, because it's one thing to come up there and make that statement and to have those meetings and to say those things, but I mean, if they actually move forward with that thought and address it and actually take action. And the other thing too to remember is the DOJ does love long weekends. So on Tuesday or Monday, it might be a completely different discussion.
I think that's the issue with the two-party system, and then also these, super rich elite conglomerates who basically have complete control over everything. So hearing it called out for what it is, I mean, that's a start. Rather than this whole, let's just pretend this isn't happening, put on blinders and act like there's nothing to see here.
Well,
and I agree. I agree with that. It was a first step. So now that the momentum is in their favor and they have started that step, now those steps turns into walks, which turns into runs. And that's where it's really going to matter, I think.
As a politician with midterms coming up, you're not going to go out on the line and name a name unless you have good sources of information and good pull in the legal system to go after what they just went after. Consider what we've seen between retail, the SEC, the DOJ, and all of these hedge funds starting to crumble lately with subpoenas being issued to Goldman and Morgan Stanley. I think they know this is their best time to strike because they have the support of the DOJ and the SEC to do what they need to do to find out how these guys are getting away with what they've been getting away with since 2008. So I'm guessing we'll hear another piece over the weekend from either or a lot of tweets. But now that the flare has been shot by senators, seated senators, on what we've been talking about, it's going to be in the news. People are going to start going, oh shit, the apes were right. Which brings me to Gasparino consistently coming after us while all he cares about is the Ripple case. And you have two senior seated senators calling out the companies that we are fighting against. So I invite him to come on the call at any time to talk to us about what he knows about what's going on. I'm sure he won't, but I think it's time to refocus on the real news.
I know that this is relative to what we're fighting and what we've been bringing attention to. I know personally that there are apes who have direct contact with people who are associated, I guess you could say, with Bernie. So don't forget how much of an impact we are making when we're shedding light on these things. And then you have someone like Bernie who has the power to use his voice and his platform that he's been voted into by us, we the people, right? So I think it's huge. It's a huge statement that was made today. And it's the same stuff we've all been here talking about. It's not a coincidence.
On the backside of a lot of blockchain talk and T0 settlement times as well. They know the global markets are screwed right now. And the only way to really fix all this in one shot, I personally believe, is going to be with a blockchain exchange. So I think this is all, I just see all these Lego pieces coming together to form my perfect Death Star, man. I'm super excited about it.
Time out. Do I have permission to say something that I view as important?
Of course. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, it's with great
Mark,
You're breaking up, Mark. Mark said, can I say something important? And Twitter said no.
Yeah, that's basically he called it, Spence.
Do you hear me now,
Yep.
Spence?
Yes.
BSTX is officially approved to launch the nation's first regulated blockchain-enabled securities exchange. The SEC has signed off on BSTX's LLC's corporate filings as part of its last step of the approval process. BSTX expects to launch in Q2, Q3 of 2022. So contrary to every skeptic out there, this is the first truckload of crow that's going to be eaten to every skeptic. It is the first U.S. SEC FINRA approved exchange on the blockchain. Officially.
Congratulations, Mark. That's a really big deal. It's awesome to hear.
Very cool.
Good thing I bought a bunch of T0P recently.
Me too.
So we have
Must be nice.
One truckload is going to be ingested by the skeptics, and we got 4 truckloads to go on what I think will be significant next. So that's that. And
that's awesome, Mark. Congrats.
Thank you.
I wanted to touch back on what
I wanted to hear what he was gonna say. I'm sorry.
Ahead,
what, Mark?
No, it's just this, along with the reformers, everyone who wants to change things, everyone who wants to give Joe Sixpack a shot, everyone who's against naked shorting, synthetic shares, all the crap that's gone on, there now is something that can work. There is something now that can trade the STOs for the dividend. And
I look forward to seeing it actually work. I'm excited.
Well, yes. Listen, thank you for giving me the time up here. I'm at work. I just wanted to step down. Thank you all, everybody, for the room.
Thanks, Star.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one, bud. Mark, that's fantastic news considering what we've just been talking about, especially with Clarence the other night, and the fact that a lot of the haters have not let up on this issue. I'm just wondering, in your mind, what do you think has happened to all the stand down Mark haters recently? Where are they at?
And that
Mark, you're breaking up again, bud.
How's that? Do you hear me now? Hear me now?
Now it's better. Thank you.
It's fine to not like me. It's fine to hate me. It's fine to not agree with me. Everything's fine. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. But in order for something to change, things have to happen. And this is a big step. I mean, you guys are listening to, Sanders, Warren. I mean, Elizabeth Warren is all for what goes on, but the problem is the money so outguns people. It's all about the money. It's all about where the money is spent. And if the money is spent to block something up, it will get blocked up. And if the money is spent for reform, things will get reformed. But at least now, there's a vehicle that can be used to reform things. At least now there is something that represents change. And for all the people, way back when they said, "What are you here for?" I was on the Portnoy podcast, February 1 of 21, advocating change, that this is bad, that Joe Sixpack gets ripped off, that people don't have a shot, that you don't have a shot. And all the people who want the status quo, attack me, attack you, Tara, Jen, the whole crowd. Change is good, but the first one through the wall is eating the shit.
Mark?
And yes. Yes, do you hear me?
You were kind of cutting out and stuff again. Now we can.
Okay, I'm going to stand still. But, there are
probably good idea.
There are next shoes to drop. And when the next shoes drop, we'll realize that this is
Yeah, Mark, you're cutting in and out. I think maybe just come back when you have better service. I don't know what's going on. I know Jay Brett wanted to say something. I don't know if it's your headphones, if you could just remove them maybe and try that, but it's cutting in and out really bad. And then every time Jen has to say it, you end up coming back in. So I don't know how you're fixing it in between, but it's not working. We can't hear you.
Just restart Twitter. It should fix it.
Potentially. I just want to confirm. So BSTX is the first blockchain exchange to be approved by the SEC. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Now you sound great.
109% approved. Hot. And I tweeted it,
so hot.
retweeted. And but I think there are many shoes that are going to drop shortly that I've been grinding on that have just taken too much out of me. So we'll see.
If anybody wonders why I've been kind of on OSTK this week on the price action, it's not because I'm an OSTK shill. It's because this is a really big deal. And if you would have heard Clarence talking, I think 2 nights ago on our call, you would understand why I am invested in OSTK because of the BSTX. So, Mark, congratulations.
Yeah, Overstock's only gone from 52 to 42 this week, but what the hell? The world has gone mad.
It was an opportunity for me.
I'm going to say, time to average down.
Yep.
Okay, Jay Brett, I know you wanted to add to the kind of what we were discussing before all of that, if you want to get back on that topic.
I just had like a kind of half harebrained theory that, I think given the political climate and everything, it's very likely that they knew that just coming out and saying stuff would be enough to tip the scales and to cause some things to go into motion, particularly around some of these funds that are over leveraged and whatnot. So by calling out this stuff alone, like they can take I wouldn't say they can take their time to act, but I think that in and of itself, similar to how when the Fed speaks, that tends to move markets. I think the same sort of thing will probably follow them making these public statements, because by calling them out in a very public manner, like, yes, there's, we know that there are investigations into a lot of these firms already, but them piling on means that it's very likely that they're just wanting to go ahead and tip it over and cause these guys to, get into significant pain and put them into the corner, where then they can take advantage of the situation and tip the scales if they actually decide to act. Now, it could just be partly for show. I kind of feel like there's a mixture, that they know that what they did here is enough to move the needle in the markets, right? And I think they might not have to do a whole lot more than that to trigger all of this into motion. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I was telling my mom the other day, I said, I think the regulators and the Justice Department and everybody who knows what went on in 2008, I think they see the economic distress our country is under, and the globe, really, with the banking industries doing the same thing and companies like Apollo going around. And I think they said it's time to cash in on these private finance firms that have consolidated so much money by doing illegal and shitty activities for fines. I really see this as it's time for them to cash in. And I made a prediction a month ago. I wasn't really vocal about it, but I think the time of really big funds, really big like style hedge funds, is coming to an end. You don't need to have a big corporation anymore to invest and create a portfolio. Hell, half of us in here are doing it. So it's too much power in one situation.
I just earlier today I talked to a skeptic, and people are starting to understand that when one tiger cub gets an idea, the other 30
Breaking up again, Marky.
How's it?
It's bad, Mark. It's really bad. We can't hear you.
Okay.
You sound like my icon over here, like the robot.
Take the tinfoil off.
Okay.
Did Carlton leave? He was waiting with his hand up for a while, dang it. Oh, well. I'm going to invite him.
Giovanni's had his hand up for a while, by the way.
Yeah, he was like third to go. Yeah, Giovanni, go ahead. Sorry about the wait.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing?
Good.
I'm jacked.
Perfect. One of the benefits to working a 9 to 5 or a 7 to 5 on the occasion, I don't get to hear some of the news going on here, which is actually the unfortunate thing, and then the bullshit, which is the good side, And apparently there's an update to this bitch. What is this?
There's a lot.
There's a lot I missed. Caught up on one. I wanted to bring up, because you guys were talking about the members of Congress trying to clamp down on insider trading, quote unquote. There was a big, huge, not huge. What am I pick words poorly sometimes. There was a pretty big, decent news clip made by was it More Perfect Union, and she went over. Crystal Ball goes over specifically a fair amount on what goes on with Congress, specifically on their trades within these 12 minutes. And it's actually very informative, because Crystal actually goes through.
Crystal has me blocked, but I just want to say really quick, that's not really what we were discussing. We were talking about Bernie and what was just said during his live clip. Did you happen to see it or catch any of it?
I caught the end, but if it was regards to insider trading, that clip also goes through on who trades what, who has more specific positions in defense and in tech. So
this was more in regard to large banks or institutions or whatever you want to call them with complete control over the money, basically.
No, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, that's okay.
My 7 to 5 getting in the way of shit again.
That's all right. No, you're fine. I think we're on two different topics.
Oh, I beg your
But
pardon.
I'm excited about all of the talk about, congressmen and women potentially being barred from being allowed to trade. I think it's heavily, it should be either, I don't know, even the fines, I was looking up the fines for insider trading, and it's like $200 they get fined if they get caught engaging in insider trading. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I just don't think it's not right. I mean, they're prepared to know what laws and what things are about to happen. They knew about COVID before any of us knew about COVID. They know where to put their money and where to shift their money, so it's just completely wrong.
Can I reduce my speeding ticket
Hey,
to 5
oh,
cents?
man.
I was trying to get to a job on time, and I made about 150 on that job. Can I just reduce that ticket to 5 cents rather than 200?
Yeah,
200?
yeah, there you go. What's up, Mateo? How are you
What's
doing?
up? I'm so excited. Tits are jacked to the moon. Look, I sat there and watched Bernie for retail. I mean, we've been saying this from the jump. I mean, Vanguard Group, BlackRock, and State Street. I mean, come on now, just BlackRock and Vanguard together own New York Times and a bunch of other media outlets. The media is the virus. You see, what I seen Bernie do in there, I was like, this is what we needed. Each of us have a voice, and you know what? When our voices make it up to Congress and our voices make it up to the top of the top, that means the elites are scared. You know, from the minute they took that buy button away, when I got invested back with GME, before I was invested with AMC, because Tara was the one that helped me shed some light on the additional corruption with AMC, where I was like, wait, what? This is happening with AMC too? You know, so it just went bigger and deeper. And the more you went down these rabbit holes, you're like, wait a minute. And then you've seen what Charles Payne did yesterday. And he goes, these nefarious short sellers they just pound, his word was pound those stocks down, you know, what do you think happens when you take a buy button away? When nobody can buy, there's no buying pressure. What happens? The stock drops. It doesn't take an idiot to understand that. Now we see what Bernie did. This is what I'm talking about, because, you know, these three, State Street, Vanguard Group, and BlackRock, I mean, come on, they control the media, they control goods, and they control, like, look how much trillions of dollars. Are you kidding me? While the mass majority is struggling and suffering, they're thriving and they made profit. And then, like you said, Tara, you hit it on the head. I mean, yes, you're right. The Stock Act, if they violate it, it's a $200 fine. That's a bunch of horse shit. Not to mention that fine almost 80% of the time gets waived by Congress. They actually can waive it off. They have the ability to waive it off, almost like, it is what it is. But you know what? It's not it is what it is, because everybody's wide awake. We demand transparency, equal opportunity. And you know what? JG said it best. It's my money and I need it now.
You just said,
Oh, yeah.
tits are jacked. That's hot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Since I'm on a different
Thanks, Jen.
What kind of call is this?
Yeah, Mateo, honestly, it's absolutely insane to think, like Gio said, can I just pay 5% or 0.5% of my ticket? And then not to mention, they're in charge of waiving their own ticket. It's like a police officer giving himself a ticket, paying a fraction of it, or just saying, you know, I don't know, I think I'm just going to waive this ticket for myself. Like, that's basically what they're doing. Congress is in charge of fining themselves. They're literally self-regulating. And how is that okay? I mean, and without this movement and without the voices and the people who have stood up and said anything, I feel like it would just continue to go on. I mean, look at Unusual Whales. He's been a huge advocate in, you know, using his platform in this way and raising attention to these things. And I think, you know, even if you don't have that large of a following, the fact that each of us can partake in it and trend hashtags and get things, you know, out there and spread the message, it's important, because now they're actually having to hone in on these issues that they were getting away with for how many years? I mean, it's been going on forever.
Yeah, I'm really excited today.
Yeah,
This.
Spence, can I just say really quick, I was really surprised when Bernie actually referenced Toys R Us. Did you all catch that when he actually referenced the amounts of jobs being lost because of these businesses, these retail businesses being put out of business? And he even mentioned Toys R Us by name. That's exactly where GameStop and AMC would have been listed if it wasn't for the APE movement. AMC is the largest theater chain in, I believe, the world. I know in the United States, and the oldest running theater chain in the United States. And they were attempting to put them out of business. And then Senator Warren stepping in and, you know, playing ball against Apollo. Apollo was the company that was right there for Toys R Us to say, oh, here, this is what we do. We help companies. No, you don't. You take over and then you make all of the money. And that's what they were attempting to do with AMC and probably GameStop too. I haven't done as much research there, but today hearing those bombs getting dropped, it was huge. It's a big deal.
Well, so actually, Tara, it's even worse than how you describe it. What Apollo typically does is they engage in death spiral lending, and on top of that, they also do leveraged buyouts. So those are two very, very like nasty things. The death spiral lending is the same sort of stuff that AMC was about to get, or was basically undergoing into the pandemic, because it's really high interest rates. And they control 100% of the debt, and they can put you under all sorts of, you know, restrictions, and they can get convertibles over into the stock. And because they own all this debt, they own your company. So that's one way that they get companies. The other way they get the companies is through the leveraged buyouts, which is what happened to my former employer, Rackspace. Rackspace actually got bought out by Apollo Global and went through this exact stuff. And I had a bunch of people that I worked with for, you know, the last almost almost 7 years that were also ex-Rackspace employees. And as people would come over to work with us, we would add them to our group because it was kind of like a family. And I kept hearing all these stories about how, well, they're gonna, you know, start doing layoffs in middle management. And they're doing that to cut the management levels because that was one big, huge problem at the company for sure. But they then started laying off more and more people, and they started outsourcing the work that was being done, you know, locally in San Antonio. And they started laying off more and more people. They made some acquisitions. And then once they basically, I wouldn't say cooked the books, but if there's a line of cook the books and essentially like, you know, what is it about? And like cleaning up the books and getting stuff, you know, getting rid of, you know, trimming fat. And they're not doing, you know, they're not doing any book cooking, but what they're doing is they're trimming out as much of the company as they can and putting things on a skeleton crew to make the books look better so that they have more money in the bank. And then they re-IPO the stock and let it crumble. They did the same thing to Claire's back in the 90s, and Claire's almost went out of business because of it. They were already not doing great, but they were in a worse position after they got dumped on the market. And the same sort of thing has been going on with Rackspace since it got bought out. It went through the leveraged buyout process. They've been struggling as a company. I know because I've got plenty of people who are contacts over there who've left, you know, or who've been laid off. And they do these layoff waves like, you know, a couple times. I think it's like semi-annually or annually.
It's sort of, Jay Brett, you know what it reminds me of is, you know, people who unfortunately are living paycheck to paycheck and they end up going to like those same day loan places and they have extremely high interest and then they have to pay it back. And then it just ends up putting you into this downward spiral because you're constantly paying more than what you initially would have had to pay. And that's what, I mean, that's exactly what death spiral lending reminds me of. I've read up on it a bit and it's terrible. Any company that's, you know, it's basically like being placed into a vice and you can't get out of it. And then not to mention you throw a pandemic on top of it. That's like just throwing gas on a fire. It's awful.
I bet you can.
Absolutely disgusting. I agree with you, Tara.
I bet you can link these actions and these behaviors to breakouts and conflict of war, national emergencies, floods. Anytime a company is just getting absolutely battered down by global economic conditions, it's these guys jump in and all of a sudden this company is going out of business, and there's a big to-do on Wall Street and in the news about it. And honestly, you guys, we busted them. We did it. Nobody else did. And now everybody's jumping on board in the political spectrum and the legal spectrums because of what we did, apart for a few
Cat's out of the
senators
bag.
who've been calling people out.
Yeah, cat's out of the bag. They can't hide it anymore. Like, they can't keep it hidden. There are just too many people involved, too many eyes on this, and it's not just in the United States, it's worldwide. There's so
And they
that is, if
and they know their
anything,
asses
what
are on the
we
line too.
right. And I know, like, people want to do the whole, like, one stock's better than the other, or GameStop was the first, which GameStop was the first. If it wasn't for what happened with GameStop, I wouldn't have ever even noticed AMC. But it is undeniable that with AMC, the numbers of shareholders that exist is what has caused everyone to open up their eyes. I mean, GameStop just has a small float. It has a way smaller float, a smaller amount of shareholders, and it's not as effective at getting a message across. When you have over 4 million people holding a stock, plus people they know and friends of friends and family and whoever who are aware of how invested they are in this and, the importance of this movement, it grows exponentially, and it's undeniable.
Real quick, you guys, I talked to Sugar. We were supposed to start his call at 4:30. He's in the room. He said it's cool if we continue with what we're on. No offense taken, he said. After we're done with this discussion, we will start Sugar's call on his journey to the U.S. and becoming an AMC aide. So
That sounds
Awesome,
good,
Spence.
I
And
was
if
gonna ask, yeah.
I could just remind people to, awesome, thank you, Gio, for coming up. If we could just remind people to tweet out the room, if you haven't done so already, it's super helpful because a lot of times the calls are not showing up at the top.
I need to
And then
drop and
I'll
get back
stop
to work
talking.
though, so I will check you later.
Thanks,
Right.
Jay Brett.
So we have the one here from Ape Radio with his hand up. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hey, Jen, Tara, Spencer, thank you. Appreciate it.
Hola.
Hello. My very first space call was with Tara. And I remember when I went in, I said, the best thing, the thing is, I'm more into politics, and I'm not going to discuss that here. And when I joined this movement, one of the things that I realized and I was actually proud of is that it didn't matter what you looked like, who you believed in, what color your skin was, religion, how much money you made. Here I am almost a year later with Tara, Spencer, Mark, and the rest of you. How we have pushed and kept going at it is just absolutely amazing. A lot of us might not agree on a lot of things. A lot of us have said bad things about a lot of other things and people. When you wake the fuck up and realize what's really important besides a lot of things in life, you get to take a whole look. That's one thing that I always say, take a whole look at the whole picture. And that's when you're going to see what's important. This isn't just about money. This movement has been, for me, a ride just like everybody else. I have met so many incredible people here. Thank you for everybody that I've become friends with. For anybody that I might have rubbed the wrong way, I will go ahead and publicly apologize for that and hope that bygones can be bygones so that we can all look towards the bigger picture. It's just amazing because your children and your grandchildren are going to look back on this movement of all of us that stood by one another through thick and thin. Some might hate each other, but at the end of the day, I am an ape. I have your back. I will always be there until the end. So thank you, everybody here, for having this call. I appreciate it. I don't want to get into too much because I know you guys are going to get into another call in a little bit. But thank you, Spencer, for having me up here. Tara, as always, Jen, everybody else. And, hey, man, sunshine days are coming our way. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
You're awesome. You're awesome, the one. And I love seeing you with your own radio show and sending out good vibes all the time. Drama-free radio. If you guys haven't checked it out, I recommend it. I've hung out in some of his spaces and they're amazing. So, and also, we don't always get to pick our family. And that's in real life and in movements and in anything you get involved with, whether it's a job or whatever it may be. You don't always pick who you're surrounded by, but if we can learn to, you know, be less judgmental and a little more accepting, we can get a lot further. It doesn't matter, you know, we don't have to love each other. We don't have to be best friends, but at the same time, we can all agree that we're working toward the same end goal. And as long as that's more important than each of us as individuals, then working together is not hard at all. But of course, there's going to be ups and downs and bumps along the way. But it's life, and we're human. Like, nobody's perfect. So I just appreciate you being here. Since like day one, it's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Spence, real quick, I want to jump down, Spence, but I just wanted to, I got rugged, but I just wanted to say thank you, Spence. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Jen. Like, seriously, you guys, like, there's nothing it comes to this. Like, all right, time is something you don't get back, right? And it's one thing that money cannot buy. You don't get paid for this time. You are just giving it out of just the goodness of your heart. You could be doing so much other things. And I just want to genuinely say thank you, because whether you're a listener, a follower, we are all part of this movement. And sometimes I started messaging Tara right now and started sending DMs, but I was like, no, I need to go up and just say thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you that have believed in this movement. Thank you to each and every one of you that has endured. I mean, God knows what. I've watched a lot of individuals go through shit after shit, but you know what? We're still here. Spence, Tara, Jen, thank you guys so much for hosting these spaces and giving so many individuals a chance to use their voice, so that way they could take it in the same direction and other directions to keep pointing out the non-transparent, you know, this illicit dark pole abuse. So thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Just remember, hate destroys, love grows. Don't waste your nights over dumb shit. Keep it real. Thanks again, Space. I'm going to jump down. Love everybody here. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Love you. Thank you
can
so
I
much.
jump
We
in
really
real quick?
appreciate it. Go ahead.
Can I
Hi,
jump in
Wendy.
real quick? Hi. So I just want to, I know the one just stepped down. I just want to tell you guys, him and Hedge, they're awesome. I found their room a few weeks ago. I was kind of down because some people had blocked me for, I don't know why. And they've been wonderful. And I go and I hang out there a little bit. I go say good morning every day, whether I'm working or not. And just, it's a great room. They chill. We talk about important stuff, you know, BS stuff. They're really a great group of guys, and it's wonderful. There's a few women in there too, but really a great group. So if anyone wants to jump in, you know, they always have AMC radio up at the top. Come on in, join us.
That's awesome. Thank you, Wendy.
And I love when you come in there now. Thank you.
Yeah, it's so much fun. It's nice to be accepted. You know, I don't want to get into it, but I'll try to come by again soon. Clarence, dang it, is he connecting or is he still up here?
Looks like he dropped to listener, but I did shoot him an invite again. So
Okay,
Clarence, we'd love to
yeah,
have
I
you up
wanted
here
to hear
if
what.
you would.
Okay, I'm
Yeah, I
jumping
was hoping to
down.
hear what he
Gotta
had to
go
say.
finish cleaning up from dinner. Jumping down. Talk to you guys later. Thanks.
Thanks, Wendy. Talk soon.
I found it interesting that Gasparino just retweeted the T0 news. So I wonder what that means.
Well, I mean, Gasparino never really seemed against any of that. He just is, you know, heavily against the AMC apes. And it seems movie theaters in general, he has a special place in his heart for streaming service. So, I mean, I think we all pretty much know why. But it seemed like he was pretty, you know, once he got the facts straight, he was pretty open to the idea that you had come with originally with the STO stuff.
The winds of change may be blown. Everyone's role in this fight.
You're cutting out, Mark, or is it just me?
No, they don't want him talking. That's why he's cutting out.
I think that if you could ask Charles Gasparino to come in here and we can discuss the blockchain exchange. It doesn't even have to be an AMC topic.
Hey guys, I just want to say something and then I'm out of here. Spence, how you doing, bro? Tara, hey, how's everybody?
Hey.
Wendy, I love you, honey, but you know what? We're all gonna get blocked now because we're in this room.
Oh no.
Blocked by who, though?
But you know what? I love anybody who's in this movement. I really am. I know who's on our side, and I know who's the division. So it doesn't bother me. I'm happy to see that more people are coming together. I'm seeing it. The one's seeing it. Our radio show is seeing it. We're bringing people up, talking for the first time ever. And that's the way we are. So I just want to say thanks, guys. Thanks for the info, Spence. You guys have a great time. We're going to be here right to the end. Love you.
You know what? Love you. Thank you for coming up. We really appreciate it. And we love this show. We love the radio show. I like, going in there every now and then and listening to what you guys have to say. So good job.
I just missed a bunch. My doggo had to go potty, and when we went outside, there was like 5 cops arresting somebody, and he decided to go run over to them and see them.
Oh no!
I was like,
was everything okay?
Yeah.
I'm more worried about your dog's huge, right?
His tail wags 100 miles an hour though. When
Okay,
he sees
good.
people.
He's a
Okay,
good
good.
Bubba. He's a good Bubba.
Was it Spence? It's not the DOJ coming to get you, right? For your market manipulation tactics because you like the stock?
Yeah, Lord Fed filed a report on me, and he hacked my account and all kinds of stuff, guys.
Oh my gosh, okay, so I have to tell you guys a quick story yesterday. Spence, I think, was out with his dogs, shocker, because he's a good dog owner, unlike some of us, myself. I'm just kidding. I try. But we all were discussing, Jen, PJ, myself, that apparently Lord Fed, from one of his many accounts, because he's blocked so many times, he's made multiple accounts to come harass us and threaten us with lawsuits for market manipulation and securities fraud because we like the stock. I'm sure he's in here right now. Shout out to you, buddy. Keep up the good work. We're not freaking scared and we're not leaving. But he decided to take a screen grab from one of the YouTube live streams that Spence does and is currently doing. If you want to go hit up the chat on YouTube, the link's on Spence's page. But long story short, he took a screen grab of Spence's DMs and had convinced Jen, myself, and PJ that he hacked into Spence's Twitter account and was currently, checking Spence's DMs. So we were all in a panic mode yesterday going, what in the world? Like, how did he do this? And Spence luckily saw the screenshot and said, no, those are old. That's just a screen grab from when I accidentally opened my DMs on one of my YouTube streams. But that is sheer desperation. I mean, the extent that he is going to, as someone who is admittedly short on AMC, I believe it's a lot deeper than what we initially thought. Now, seeing that the DOJ is actively investigating short sellers, I have reason to believe that he is either one of them or associated with someone who is most likely being investigated. And that's why he is so fired up against us and trying to take the bullseye, the target, right off of them and place it on people like myself who actively talk about AMC stock and trying to paint this picture of us, engaging in securities fraud. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous, and I'm gonna say it. Just want to say it. He's a little bitch. He's a little bitch.
Jen's been all fire all week.
Charles Payne would agree. I can almost guarantee it. I can't speak on his behalf, but I can almost guarantee it.
Yep, both of us think you're a little bitch. That's right, Lord Bud.
I really believe these guys that have been harassing us from the UK, Moonshot UK messed up and talked to me a long time ago one night and told me the hotel he was staying at, I think accidentally, it is 2 to 5 minutes away from the White Square Capitol building, who have basically got crushed on their GME short. I'm more than confident it's just sour grape disgruntled employees who are doing that. On that, I wanted to get Sugar's piece in about 15 minutes, but I got a really good question for Clarence if he can answer it on some BSTX stuff. And it was from Joey, and Joey asked, what would it look like if AMC wanted to list on the BSTX as far as requirements? If you know.
They could.
Now, the next couple of months, I mean, a couple
If
of weeks, we're
Clarence
going to focus on pilots.
isn't up, I think he said the other day
I'm
there's
here.
going to have to
Do you hear
be
me?
some trial to see how this all works and shakes out.
Mark. Hey, Mark, we can't hear you.
It's
Do
like
you
the
hear me?
biggest. Yeah, I can hear you, Clarence. It's like the biggest day for Mark, and we can't hear him.
So Mark is awesome. Period. He is great American. Period. Without a doubt. Period. And he's helping all of us. Period. But insofar as AMC, yes, it's going to be able to be. AMC will be able to be over time after the pilots are run on BSTX. Not a debate. They're just running the trap. They're going to start to run the traps over the next couple of months. It's going to launch in June, according to the director of BSTX.
Awesome. And of course, the trials and everything needs to have a process to ensure quality assurance and
that's
things
what
like
that is.
that. Yep.
Yeah. So just want to make sure I'm going to repeat, Mark is a great American.
Absolutely. He's been a treasure to this community with the knowledge he has shared. I wouldn't have even known about T0 or BSTX if Mark wouldn't have joined this community. So much appreciation. You too, Clarence.
Thank you. So AMC and Adam Aaron can take advantage, in my view, and I'm sure in Mark's view.
Mark, if you're trying to talk, we still cannot hear you, sir. What a day for him to be out of service range.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
And by the way, just to let you know, I have worked with Senator Warren in 2008 and 2009 to try to bring more, at the time, debt to companies that were creditworthy that the banks were not willing to lend to. So she created something called the Consumer Finance Agency, and she is helping the average American like us. In addition to Bernie, she did a great service with regard to when you ever take out a mortgage. It simplifies when you look at what you're supposed to be getting. She required the banks to summarize in 2 or 3 pages what it is that they were providing you.
Nice. I do remember. I remember all that now that you talk about it. Her and Bernie Sanders were peer fired today, and I've never ever really been a big supporter of either of them on most issues, but they killed it on this one.
She cares. Well, here's the bottom line: she cares, and Bernie cares for the average American. That's all.
Good deal. I loved it today. It got me so pumped up to hear them. It almost like they were finally unleashed. You know what I mean? Like they finally just said enough is enough. Yep.
Clarence, are you related to Charles Schwab?
No, I'm not. I'm not related. All Schwabs come from, as I mentioned in the other call, from west of Munich in a place called Schwabia. But I'm not. He doesn't know me, and I do not know him. I'm not affiliated with Charles Schwab.
Okay, just checking. I like the name Clarence anyway. I think it's a good name.
Thank you. I'm named after my grandmother, Clara.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that name. That's very pretty.
Is Tara really quiet to anybody else? Does it sound quiet?
Yeah, nope, it sounds the same to me too. Sorry, I was changing the title here.
Okay.
Nope, there's something wrong with the volume.
I think you're
Maybe
just
it's my phone.
used to me being super loud, maybe. Because I get really close to my phone.
Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear.
Okay.
What's up, PJ?
So hot.
Hi, guys. Thanks so much for having this call. I'm just chilling and I'm listening to all of this and I'm thinking of everything from 13 months ago, from where we were 13 months ago. And that was me going, what the hell did I do? I'm going to lose all my money. And in a year, in 1 year or 13, 14 months, what have we accomplished, you guys? 13 months ago, nobody was talking about any of this. I mean, it's just so mind-blowing, and I'm so proud of you guys. And I have been saying this since day one. This community is going to change the way Wall Street works. And I absolutely stand by that 155,000% right now. I love you guys. Keep up the hard work. We have a long way to go, but we're going to get there because we're gaining steam. And that just brings tears of joy to my eyes. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I love you, PJ. You are such a firehouse. Like, a firecracker. I don't even know. You just honestly, I feel like this whole thing would not be the same without you here. And your voice. You have such a huge impact on so many, myself included. And just when I hear you say things like what you just said, it reminds me why, and I think a lot of other people, why we've all dedicated so much time to this, because you're right. It's been over a year of dedication to something that, shouldn't have ever even happened in the first place. And we're not going to, like Mark says, we're not letting go of the rope. We're not giving up. We're not walking away. We're not leaving. So thank you, PJ. You're the best.
Thank you. And I'm proud to stand with you guys. And I want you to all to know that I will never walk away from this, because I walked away. Well, I didn't really pay much attention to it in 1987 because I was right back on my feet. In 2008, it was like, oh my gosh. And then everything was focused on Bernie Madoff. And then, and just the bad mortgages that people took. Wasn't focused at all on Wall Street. But I will let you know, I will take my last breath fighting these people for fairness, transparency, and just being human.
No, guys, fighting for fair markets, that's what this is all about. I'm very proud of this movement. I'm very proud of this ape community. And, PJ, I just love you, girl. I love you so much. You're a very influential person here in this movement, and you're very knowledgeable. You're very smart, witty. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. PJ, you know how to represent. I love you, girl. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you
Jen,
so much.
is it just me, or do you feel less scared when people like Lord Fed come at you and you have PJ in your corner?
Yes, I feel actually like more secure, like, wow, because PJ just brings it. She knows how to bring it to the table. She knows what she's talking about. I love it.
Lord Bud Spread. Dude's a clown.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
She's a powerhouse. For real. For real.
But here's the thing. I wouldn't be a powerhouse without you guys. Together, we are, one person couldn't change anything. Together, and the way we are can. And I am so happy that there is whatever division is going on doesn't affect our circle. I'm so happy we can stay focused. I'm blessed by the fact we have Mark and Clarence and all of you guys here giving us the juice, basically the juice that we need to run this train forward. Thank you, guys.
Preach it, sister. That's because team together. I mean, that's, we're just stronger as a team. It's always stronger as a team, and I love this team so much.
Let's get to these hands. Who's Edward? Edward was up.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Oh, good.
Hey, Edward.
Man, just I got smacked a little bit emotionally, with all the press movement today. So I kind of stepped out and reaffirmed my goals. But I just want to share something on how our battle is going and stuff. Back in January 27 of 2021, when I was going over through the documents with SEC and then Antinaga with the court filing, it was one thing that hit me. Why Apex clearing the clearinghouse? Why did it go on Reddit posts and start observing what retail was doing and talking about, only to disclose the intel to brokerages like Robinhood and then instruct them to literally remove the buy button? Guys, These people created bots to create FUD. They created accounts to spread misinformation and get people to sell out of their positions. They're so deep in this garbage of their shorts that they literally had to create a bot system just to algorithmically drive our like mentality into the ground to get us out of this play because they're so deep in the water. This is just starting in January 27th. This is with Reddit, and I was like in Reddit, I was like looking over like what is this, like when I kind of was like getting pumped up and started and stuff like, oh, what's this talking about? How does this work? How does that work? And now we're getting to a point where like we're on Twitter Spaces. Just think about it. These guys are spying. I mean, even what was it? The congressman video with Ken Griffin. He's like, well, you guys have intel to basically look at like what orders are coming in, and Ken Griffin's like, oh, we there is a order flow that's coming that we know is coming from retail, and there's an order from the big institutions. He literally said in the video that they know which order is coming from who and from where. So just the fact that they had to create bots to sort of battle us, and they still lost. They still lost. Like they just think about how much power and strength and finances they had to waste, and they still lost. They have no other way. And with SEC doing a lot of this battle with the DOJ, this is coming to a very strong end, and we're closer. I mean, like Jen, what you have said, and then obviously PJ, we have changed so much in the past 13 months that it's like we're hitting the climax in a movie. It's like where things are wrapping up. But 13 months ago, it's like we were doing, it's like CSI Miami. Like, what the heck did we just run into? Where does the footprints lead to, And then we are here now, like, oh, we're doing a lots of DD. We're collaborating together. We're joining information together. We're like, oh, so when the buy button was removed, Citadel was buying on the way down at artificially reduced prices. No wonder that explains why it was shorted and nobody was able to buy except Citadel using dark exchanges because the buy button was removed. Who was buying on that date? The people who had access to dark exchanges, including Citadel and any big one institution or firm that had access to dark exchanges. That's why there was no transparency and we just saw the price tank. So this entire battle against these corrupt firms and the corrupt entities that are involved, with one another, we're doing DD and we're breaking this apart. And we're on point. We have done the amount. We're doing what's right. We're doing a lot of information and spreading the truth and informing people what's actually going on in the market and how corrupt things are. And we're getting people on board. And look where we are right now. I mean, what was it back then? Like 2 million investors. Then was 4 million investors.
Well, and
I'm
that's
pretty
where
sure
there's
it's beyond 10 million.
something very, very important to be said about fundamentals of supply and demand. No matter what algorithms you use, corrupt tactics you use, if the demand for something from a consumer retail base is so high, it gains enough power to overtrack anything these guys are going to use, and that's what's happening here. But the problem is this time we saw what they were actually doing and decided to take a stand, because the gameplay the entire time was, let's hand all this money out from the government during the pandemic to all these people, and then all of a sudden, oh boom, Robinhood shows up on the app store. They were going to come in and take all this government handed out money from retail investors and run off to the bank, and they got fucking caught. That was great, Edward, man. Really appreciate it. We're going to do these last two hands, and then I want to get to Sugar, because we were already supposed to start 30 minutes ago, and he's been very gracious about waiting because all these hot topics tonight. So if, let's see, if Rich wants to go, and then Life is a Gift afterwards.
So can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, it's my first time up here talking, guys, but I'll tell you, this is the be connected to. I appreciate every one of you guys. Just a quick rundown, because I do want to get to Sugar stuff, actually. I probably bought in about April, did the Reddit thing, did some YouTube stuff, listened to Mark when he got involved with some interviews. And y'all's group really has on. Y'all are organized, you have it together, you have each other's backs, you talk about good topics, you have good ideas, you stand with one another, and you go forward with them. You're open to other people's ideas, except for some of the bad actors that come up, which we just got to get rid of those guys anyway. Kind of cut to the chase here because of the BSTX stuff that came up. I've listened to Mark a lot. I've listened to so many of his interviews. I've read his Ask Me Anythings, followed Patrick Byrne, and I've just read and listened to a lot of stuff. And here's what I think is going to happen. Here's a prediction. Currently, Adam Marin has the chance to do BSTX. I wish he would have done Mark's idea back when he had a chance. But now he's got the option to do BSTX. Pretty soon, later this year, because blockchain is so efficient, and I've read up on it a lot, and I've listened to Mark a lot, he won't have any other option but to do it because the entire market is going to go to blockchain. And that's my prediction. The entire market. There is no option. It'll just be mandated. It will be blockchain everything. 50 years ago, during the Great Paper Crisis, they had a chance to get things right. Our screwed up system that we have is what they picked. All the stars have aligned, and because of the retail movement, because of the bad players in mainstream media, because of the over-leveraged players, if you look at it like blockchain, you won't have a 2008 event again. It's over. I mean, all of that stuff, there's no reason to not do it, and everything has lined up. And this is speculation on my part. Mark's here. If I'm talking off, you just let me know. But there's been a group of guys working on this for probably about 15 years, is my best guess. And the stars have finally aligned and are going forward with it. And by the end of this year, the entire market will be blockchain, including AMC, because that's all the options will be. It's so efficient for brokers. It will save everybody money, including the brokers. I mean, there's not any reason to not do it. And that's just my 2 cents. And I appreciate you guys having me up for your group. It means a lot to me. And Sugar, I want to listen to yours tonight. I'll be honest with you, buddy. My wife is an immigrant. She lived in a refugee camp for a little bit. Her and her family's over here. And I'm glad you're over here. Hardworking guy, you pay your taxes, and this is your country too now. So you guys have a good one.
Thank you.
And I'll just kind of step down here, and thanks for letting me give my 2 cents, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you very much. That was wonderful.
Oops, I chose the wrong emoji. Yeah, thank you so much, Rich, for coming up real quick. That was beautifully said. Thank you so much.
Is this being taped?
Go ahead, Mark. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Of course it is.
Perfect. Can you just
Yes,
take what Rich
recorded.
said and
I keep receipts.
Can you take what Rich said and cut it out and send it to me?
Yep.
Gives
it'll be a
me
Froggy Leaps. I'll do it as soon as it processes.
Gives me the absolute shakes, and all I can say is stay tuned. I am on the grind. On the fucking grind. So
Awesome, Mark. All right. I think Ricardo is waiting to say something and you're cutting out again.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
How's everybody doing?
First of all, thank you, Spencer, Tara, Jen, Mark, Sugar. What's up? Um, I put myself with Eduardo, which actually my brother's name is Eduardo too, and I agree with him. And the last guy that he was talking to before, Mark. Also, with Cole or the Bernie meeting, whatever that he had today, it made me think a lot of stuff. These two companies, Vanguard and BlackRock, have so much power in our market, on the economy, basically worldwide. Sometimes made me think you don't think they need Kobe and all this craziness to be up there and all this mess. It helped them. I think they really was trying to crash the whole market and messed it up the whole working hard people that every day had to wake up 5 in the morning or provide for their family. I was thinking about that. Like they probably was using Kobe, or maybe not using it, but use the media to just pump the Kobe effect. Um, Also the Canadian stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on now, and just to know these people have so much power in media and all this stuff make me think twice. That's my first overview. Also have a couple of months ago, I make a purchase in AMC. Maybe somebody knows about him, and I tried to bring in one of the calls, but I got shut down for one of the hosts. They tried to call me that I was a shield, but all good. Um, One day I
Yeah,
tried to do a purchase.
those are the bad calls. Don't go there.
Yeah, they called me shield, and actually they kicked me out. But
Yeah,
I
there's
have
a certain level of paranoia with certain groups of people, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, just come back here. That's all I could
yes.
recommend.
I had this, so I did this purchase, and I had this thing in my mind since I did that purchase, and actually I contact Fidelity. So basically, I use my Acting Pro app in my computer, and I have it to go. All my orders go to NYAZ. So I did my purchase. Next day, have like a date for clearance and all that stuff. I see it says I forgot the code that was saying on it. When do you purchase from? Do you sometimes you say NYCE? So I see this different code. I forgot the name of it. I had to go back to my computer and look at it. It says whatever, but it was linked to Nike Capital, right? So this company actually in 2012 was in a trial in court for neck and shorting. So I called Fidelity and asked why my orders be going to this on security thing. And they say, oh well, because we do the first I think they said the best option or something like that, the best price
Best
in the market.
execution.
That's exactly what he said. And I'm sorry because it was like 3 or 4 months ago.
Okay.
Um and so whatever I said, but why if I had it go to the legal exchange? So basically they don't give me exactly why. And I try to ask somebody if they know anything about it, about this, whatever, knife capital on securities. Is anybody know if it's related with this play or what's going on? That's my other question. Thank you, guys.
If you want to DM me those specific questions, I will look at them more in detail.
Yeah, I will actually. I think I have still the screenshot for the chat with Fidelity, so I'm probably gonna send you that all info. So because I try
Good
to do
deal.
DD, but I'm always at work.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Spence is really knowledgeable or knows where to kind of like point you to. So if you can DM him, really quick, I know you're trying to get things started with Sugar, and I see there are no more hands up, but I did want to say hi to Eric and thank you for coming in. It's awesome to see you. I come to a lot of your spaces, so it's great to see you here with us. I know you're usually in your crypto community stuff, which I absolutely love and find so much good information and value from your spaces as well. So just want to say hi.
Hello. I'm literally I've been listening for a 40-minute ride, and I was like, maybe I could step up and provide some value and insight to some things. And then now I'm about to show up at my destination at Freeze LA in Beverly Hills, where I'm producing an event tonight. And so it's very like crypto NFT centric, but there's so many people that need to explore this space that don't understand it. So I'm hosting education panels, and we have NFT LA next month as well, and ETH Denver going on right now. And it's like you just said, you know, this stuff is very much the future of finance, the future of tech, and allowing us to redefine and redesign the parameters and boxes that these industries were previously placed in. And you know, that should be a very, very empowering thing, because there's a huge opportunity within that, regardless of age or race or background or region. And I'm seeing that the life changing new generational wealth happening every day, with redistribution attached to tokenomic systems and secondary royalties and things that are written into contracts for perpetuity that will take care of people for a very long time. It's just like, it's really a beautiful thing. And I think that COVID had a lot of people lose that hope and faith, and now it's being reinvigorated, and the conversations are being re-stimulated and brought back to life. So yeah, that's it. I wish I could provide more information, right? More information, more value right now. But if there's anything you want to ask me, I'm here for a minute before I step in on stage.
I would love to have a call with you. I have another person who I'm supposed to be doing a call with potentially this weekend or coming up soon, more in the crypto sphere. And I would love if you could join us too. My question is, have you, I don't know how much you know as far as like the stock market side of things, but I didn't know if you heard the news, or I guess it's up at the top. I didn't even see that, but that we now have an official SEC approved exchange that'll be a blockchain exchange. So for companies to be able to trade something like a security token on this exchange, or I believe their actual stock on BSTX, where people can track it's trackable using blockchain. I was curious if you had anything to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be heavy into stocks, and once I got into crypto, I never really looked back. Especially with DeFi and altcoins and the decentralized side of things, which, mind you, is an acquired taste, and it's very volatile, and it takes a lot of work to know how to avoid the landmines and grenade. But I think at the end of the day, like what we're seeing is mass adoption. When enough of the major players see, like, I mean, you always want to watch the money, but when enough of the major players are forced to adopt versus reject, and the majority of them are choosing to adopt, then you see a huge shift in the entire way that things are operating and functioning. And that's what you're seeing right now. PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Square, all the FANG companies, Google, Facebook, Apple, etc. They're all having to adapt because they can't fight back, they can't push back, they can't really go against it. And the SEC wants to make everybody happy to some extent because they're used to making everybody bad or mad. So this is an opportunity for them to even get a PR facelift. This is publicity for them for being a little bit more open and tolerable to what's going on. You know, you have Christie's and Sotheby's and Heritage and a lot of these auction houses accepting this stuff in the same way, and realizing that digital assets and physical assets and cryptocurrency isn't just invisible play money anymore. And so with that and these new asset classes, I think stocks are going to start doing fractionalizing, and they're going to start splitting, and they're going to start looking at the security side of things, and they're going to create their own subsector of themselves, kind of like an S corp that you hire yourself to. They're going to start creating these little breakoffs and these little fragmentations where they start allowing people to get into the DeFi side of things, which will still be centralized to a good extent on their end, but it gives them a second life, you know. And I think that in itself, a perfect marriage or a good example would be like, look at how AMC and GameStop moved this past year. If those two merged and did some form of acquisition and merger, and then gave their current shareholders an opportunity to buy into a coin, of that new merger, and that merger resulted in GameStop taking all worldwide and turning them into gaming centers or esports arenas because you already have the screens and the seating, and then taking that coin as a mode of
Is he cutting out?
the tokenomic system behind it would be crazy, you know? And if it's
Yeah.
regulated and it can be
So,
above water,
Eric,
yeah.
so many of these ideas have actually come from calls just like this. So many of these ideas that you're even mentioning have been discussed here. We were even effectively able to approach the CEO of AMC and get him to recognize cryptocurrency, Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, and some others that he's now accepting for as payment for ordering, your gift certificates or movie tickets online for AMC theaters. They're the first theater to do that, to go that route. So it's pretty awesome having, the ability to communicate as well with the CEOs of companies to let them know this is what we want and them actually listen. He's truly been a trailblazer. And in their last earnings call, he actually did mention the potential for their own crypto or token in the future. So he's also, teamed up with movie studios to do these special releases. For example, the Spider-Man NFT that was for the premiere of Spider-Man, the latest movie. So he's definitely in going in that direction, and it's awesome to see, and hopefully we'll see even more companies picking up and doing that. I didn't mean to cut you off. I think you were coming in and out, or it might have been on my end.
All right.
No, you're all good. My reception's trash where I'm at, so I appreciate
Well,
you, and we'll
thank you.
another time.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming up. It's awesome to see you in here, and you're just a wealth of information. I hope that we can connect on another call. I'm going to DM you about something that I have coming up, and hopefully we can put something together. I know Spence is trying to get on with the show with Sugar, and I'm super excited for that as well. Good luck with your event tonight, Eric, and thank you again for coming by.
Thank you much. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Eric. We appreciate you very much for being up here tonight. Thank you.
Absolutely. And we'll host another call. I hope you come back. I want to talk more on that topic. And I apologize to Sugar for running a little late, buddy. Man, we had
No. You don't. You guys have to nothing to apologize to me. I have all the time in the world. I drive a semi truck. I should be thanking you guys. So you can take your time. I'm not going anywhere, man. I'm nervous to speak. I'm just I'm just nervous to speak too. So you guys, if you have anything, I'm sitting here. I will.
Nope. We're ready to go, bud. I'm going to change the title of the call. And for everybody coming in tonight, this is going to be Sugar's story about naturalization, coming to America, where he's from, where he's been, and coming through up and his hardships and his successes and becoming an AMC ape and joining our community. It's a near and dear important topic to my heart. So I guess I'll just open it up with Sugar and just ask you, how did you get where you are today from where you started, and what is your life story on that?
First of all, thank you for letting me speak. And I'm very lucky to be a part of a community that's changing the history. As we speak, it's being written, and I'm just lucky to be a part of this. When I joined this community, I didn't even know like how caring, loving, and community this is. People, I always heard like, oh, stock market doesn't care about your emotions. I know it doesn't, but this community does care, and it's the reason I am having enough courage to come up and talk about my life, which the last 14 years I've been here has been the best 14 years of my life, in the United States, and the most loving, caring, appreciative people I ever met in my life. But before I start my story, I want to say, congratulations to Mark and Clarence. They put a lot of hard work, and I know what Mark has to go through. He didn't deserve the way he got treated when he came up to the and but he's still stuck with us. There are mostly good people in this community. It's some of them are always, some bad apples are everywhere, but you need to understand, this is one of the biggest. You are standing up, we all are standing up, 1% to 1%. 99% people are standing up to the 1% that's running the whole world. So it won't be easy, but it hasn't been easy, but it will be worth it. So I want to thank you, whoever has participated in this community, whether you have 1 share, 10 share, 100 share, or 100,000 shares. It's all of you, all of us together. We are here because of all of us, not just for one person or just for one influencer. No, it's a community effort, like the guys before said too. If you have some problems with each other, just apologize. And for the betterment of community, we are all brothers and sisters. And this is what the other side is scared of. They're not worried about just AMC or GameStop. They are worried because nobody ever stood up to the 1% like you guys stood up. And that's what they are worried about. And that being said, Rich, thank you for your kind words, brother. For me, words of appreciation mean more than anything, any money in this world. And I am sharing my story not because I need something from someone, or, for me, your time, you took out your time, your words of appreciation, that means more than anything. And after listening to my story, if even one person can say that, it was worth it, I'll think it was worth sharing.
Sugar, when you get started, and this is to the panel too, are you cool with like every now and then somebody can pop in and kind of ask you a question about what you're talking about, or do you want to
Yeah.
go straight through?
No, they definitely they can ask me
Okay.
whatever they want. But my story is, I don't know how much time you have. It might take a little bit time, because
Go for it, buddy.
to tell you guys why I'm so happy to be here. I have spent the best 14 years of my life here, is because you have to see where it all started. So I was 3 years old, and and my parents, where I was born, they were not good schools and colleges. So they sent me almost 700-800 miles away to live with my uncle, my aunt and uncle, because they were good schools. Because my parents wanted me to have the best education I can have. And when growing up, I lived with my uncle and aunt, and first I missed my parents. It's very hard for a kid to grow in an environment where you miss your you as a little kid, you miss your mother the most. So I grew up with my uncle and aunt, and no disrespect to them, they kept me 6-7 years in their house, but when I was growing up, my uncle, he used to drink, and then he went to a point where he turned into an alcoholic. So he used to beat the living shit out of me whenever he was, because get caught. And sometimes he catch me, but sometimes I would run to my neighbor's house and come when he sleeps. And this thing went on for quite a while. And one day, my grandparents were there, and my uncle was heavily drunk, and he caught me, and he put his foot on my neck and hold my hand, and he was almost gonna take my hand out. He could have killed me that day, but my grandparents saved me. And they took me to one of my aunt's house, who used to live close by. And next day, they decided to put me in a boarding school. I was 10 years old, I think 10 or 9, 10 years old. And my mom, my grandma, grandparents were very wise. They didn't want it to have my father and my uncle have any problems. And so she took a promise from me that I will not tell anybody. And I didn't see my parents for a long time. Because they were busy working. Worked very hard. So I can have a better life. They didn't know. So I was put in a boarding house. And there I met some of the nicest friends, loving, caring people, that's when I realized, like that as a little kid, that what friendship is, how, to have good friends in life, just innocent life, that child. So as the time passed by, I always would think, my grandparents were the one who would visit me because my parents were so busy working, making a living for, so paying my school fees, they sent me in good schools. I can never thank enough my parents, my grandparents, to send me in the best schools. Otherwise, I would not be sitting here and talking in English to you guys, So as I grew a little older, my grandparents passed away, and the first time I got to go visit my parents, and I saw that I always used to think, like growing up, like why my why I'm not wanted, like you feel when you grew up with a feeling like you are worthless and good for nothing, and you when you grow up with that a feeling, you always start doubting yourself, like why me, why what did but when I was a little bit older in my teenage life, I went to see my parents, and I always used to see, I started even doubting myself if I'm their son, because I didn't know. But when I went there and I saw how my parents, how much my mom hard work she did, how much my father, how much they did for my grandparents. I mean, they took care of them till the last end. That was the last day I ever doubted that, that I don't have parents. And that was the day I was 15 or 16 years old, and I decided that one day I will have my own home, and I will work hard, that whatever my parents, whatever they did for my grandparents and for me, I will have one day. And that day I had a dream of coming abroad, because I had one of my cousins here, in US, and we would grow up with listening to the stories, like how he came here empty handed and how successful he got, how hard he worked. So I tried to help. My father had a little bit land, and so I said I will help you in it, because he was very hard working. It takes a lot of work. Farming is not easy, and so I said, but he said, no, we didn't sacrifice all our life, and sending only kids away. I mean, I don't know how big of a heart they have had, because I have two kids, and I can't send away my kids for 2 weeks because I'm so close to them, because I tried to live my childhood with my kids, that I didn't.
Sorry, Sugar. I was sending up hearts and they put it right over the mute button. Yeah, go ahead, buddy. Sorry about that, man.
Okay, so I did my study, and I requested my father. They knew that I want to go abroad. They kids know parents know their kids. What's in their heart, and they said like do your graduation, whatever. Then we'll send you. So every time I would go in the holidays, I would help them. I help my father. I worked on the farm and everything. And that my parents saved all the money. To send your kids abroad takes a lot of money. It's not, for a middle class family, it's not possible. But my mom even sold her gold, whatever she had, and my parents, whatever money they saved, so I can come get a good education and come abroad, fulfill my dream. And I I went to Europe to do my college. I will not go in too much depth, but after Europe, I came here. My cousin was here, and I it was in 2007. So he has a convenience store and a gas station, and when I came here, people always measure success by how big your house is, how expensive your cars are, how much is your bank balance, and how popular you are. But for me, success was being being loved, being appreciated, and when you grew up, your uncles and your cousins telling you, that you won't be able to do nothing in your life, you're worthless and you're good for nothing. And when you come in a country and you realize that people here, they don't care where you came from. The America I know is not what the American news channels and the politicians want you to see. The America they want you to see is not the America I lived. The America I have seen is very loving, very caring, very forgiving, and very appreciative. So I started, helping him out at his gas station, and you know, they people didn't care, that where I came from, how I look like. They didn't care how what I dress like, and they all they cared was I was very loving and respectful. I always treated them with respect. It doesn't matter what race, what religion you are. Anybody who came in my store where I worked was always got treated with love and respect. So I think it was the first Thanksgiving I had. I didn't know what Thanksgiving is all about. And the first Thanksgiving I had, one lady, she came and she was one of my neighbors, and she's like, "You working?" And we used to close early, but I was, we're working 5 in the morning, and 5 in the evening, and I was gonna close. And she's like, "Did you eat anything? It's Thanksgiving." I said, I don't know what Thanksgiving is." She went her home and she brought me a plate full of stuffing, all the food, turkey, stuffed mushrooms. Like I didn't even know. And then she explained to me, why we Thanksgiving, why we celebrate Thanksgiving. So for me it was my first Thanksgiving. I was thankful that I came for what I was looking all my life. I was very thankful. I am thankful and always will be thankful, because I finally found. That's the first day I saw, the heart of American people. And, after that day, I decided that, I will add every day 2 people in my life, because I wanted, I wanted to feel loved, like the way that lady showed me love and appreciation, just kindness. And when you didn't get in your life, for you, it's like when you're thirsty for every ounce of love and appreciation, and then you get a whole sea full of love and appreciation. You don't want to just drink it, you just want to drown in it with happiness. So for me, and then it's a small town, Racine, Wisconsin, on the lake of on Michigan Lake. And then slowly and slowly, I like my convenience store gas station was right before the downtown of Racine. So every business owner, bar owner, everybody would stop, to the convenience store. And and I remember at least 5,000 people, what they smoke, what they drink, what kind of lottery they play. Like, for me it was not work. For me it was like I wanted as much as I can get from people, as many people I can add in my life. I was so much thirsty for that love, whatever I can get from people. Over the period of time, people started inviting me in their weddings, their kids' birthday parties, Christmas parties, everything. I mean, I was just not a guy from a gas station, and I started living in the neighborhood. So I knew everyone. So, and you won't believe, 8 years I lived in Racine, Wisconsin. I never cooked in my life. I never had to. Like, every day, whether it was my neighbors or my friends, as soon as I worked, they would take me, and like, "Hey, come, let's go. You done working, let's go." And, eat with them. So one day, the whole neighborhood, they called the local newspaper, uh, Journal Times, or Scene Journal Times. And I used to be I was always a happy guy. I still am. And, I would put music in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, I would put Indian music. And, first, when I started working, people would come in and think like, "What the hell's wrong with this guy?" Because they were not used to see someone so happy 5 o'clock in the morning. So, but slowly and slowly, as they got used to me seeing every day, they started calling me Mr. Happy, the whole town. And that was my thing. No matter what mood people come in my store, they will always leave with a smile. That was my thing.
I'm gonna call you Mr. Happy from now on, dude.
I, I, and they will, so they no matter what mood they come in, no matter how tired I am and what mood I am in, as soon as I was there, that I was the happiest person in the world. And no matter what mood people will come in, when they left my store, they always had a smile on their face. That's what, for me, that's what my success was. That's what for me success meant. So over the period of time, they called the local newspaper, the neighborhood people, like, hey, come do because they were always doing the, like articles, negativity. And, they called the reporter, I still remember, Stephanie Jones. And, they called her and, like, hey, can you do an article on, our happy guy? And, I was very scared, like you guys, gave me a chance to speak, but, she asked me about my life and all that. And, she talked to people and they, everybody had so much good words to say about me. And then she did an article, wrote down Mr. Happy, because my people were always calling me, Mr. Happy. And then after that, the whole town started calling me Happy, but my name is Manny, Manny. I go by Sugar Coach, but my name is Manny. And, but that was the best name I could have, Mr. Happy. So over the period of time, it was like so much of love. I even till this date, I still thank God that, he gave me a chance to come in this country and experience what I haven't experienced most of my life. That 8 years of my life, and, the last 14 years, as whatever I've been here, have been the best. And I can't thank God and the people of this country enough.
Sugar, could I ask what region you were born in? Is that something you can tell us?
Yeah, I was born in north of India.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
North part of India. It's up by Nepal border. And I did my education in north to Punjab. And that's where I did my education.
It's so interesting. I've been so curious about that part of the world for so long. What got you in through all your troubles and hardships and coming to America, becoming successful and developing a community around you is what it sounds like, Mr. Happy. That's people were excited to come and see you at the store, because I'll tell you, I like social interaction, and when I go to a store, I want to say hi to the person at the register, and just a little small talk. And Walmart, you can't really do that type of thing. It's just so busy and unhuman. Through all that, what inspired you to get into AMC, man?
So AMC, I moved to Ohio. I don't know if I say my whole story will be long. I don't want to bore you, but something has, my wife, I don't know if you want me to tell the whole story, because I don't want, but if you guys want me, I can, but if you don't have,
whatever you're comfortable with, man, just tell what you think is important to you, so we know what you think is important.
Okay, I wanted to share something, so after the few years, when I was in Racine, something happened, an incident happened, that really hurt me. I was working at the store, and somebody came to rob me at the gas station. And, a 16-year-old kid, he didn't get no money from me, but he tried to take the box of cigar from me. And, he, tried to, but I took the box. I said, go, I will not call the police, just give me the box and go. So I took the box of cigar, and as soon as, while I was turning to put the box of cigar, in back, and, he had that brass knuckle, I never seen that thing before. And, he hit me on my left side and he just ran away. For a few seconds, I didn't even know, that what happened. But then one of my, people came to the store, and, he's like, what happened to your eye? And I didn't even realize, like, my eye. I said, what happened? Because it got numb. He's like, go look in the mirror. And then I went to the mirror, and my eye was all swollen. My left cheek was all damaged, and I didn't know that time. I thought it's just something, it'll get better. Then I called my brother, and he's like, call the police and, go to a doctor. You don't know what happened. I called my cousin whose store I used to work, and he's like, he was not, guy. And so I just went with one of my customers because he was stuck somewhere too. And he's like, just go lock the store. Don't, he was not able to come. But so I went with one of my, people from the store. And, when we went to the, hospital, I thought it'd be just, I just told them, give me some medicine, I'll be okay, and, he said, we got to do the x-ray because that looks bad. And, when they did the x-ray, and they told me it was very bad. They said my whole left cheek of the bone is shattered. The bone we have is like, it's all gone. We have to go do a reconstructive surgery. Otherwise, you will lose your eye because your eye is standing on the shattered bone. So, I didn't want to go through surgery, but he said, if you get hurt again, you can, it was so damaged that it went up to my, brain. And he's like, you can get, your brain can get damaged too, so you have to. So then I came back, I was a little heartbroken and went through the reconstructive surgery, $30,000 it cost me. Insurance didn't cover all of it. I paid $18,000 from my pocket. So I stayed home, and, I was very depressed and sad. But, when the people from the neighborhood and the whole town found that, it happened to their happy, they used to call me happy is ours, like I say, they are mine, So they came to my brother. I told them not to tell, anyone, but, my brother, because everybody was asking, like, because people were so used to see me every day, all day long there. And, the people came to my house, you will not believe how many gifts, cards, and, bottles of Jack Daniel, because people, everybody in that town, they know what I like to drink, because I would get that on Christmas and everything. And for me, I as much as I was depressed, those people were like my medicine. I had to go back, and, once my stitches got a little better, doctor told me not to go. He's like, can't do any hard work on it. But I had to see my people, man. They were my medicine. They were like, physical pain doesn't bother me that much. What I needed those people to get through that. So I went to the store, and I never looked after that, never even, looked at it. It hurts still now because I can't sleep on my left side. I have to live with that pain. But that pain doesn't bother that much, as much love I got. That was more than any. The pain was, I didn't even feel it because I got so much love in return. So I never celebrate a birthday or anything because there was nobody to ever do anything. So it was my 30th birthday. I would celebrate a lot of friends' birthday. There is very famous ONH bakery in Racine. And I would always, surprise people. Take, they get a cake from them and surprise them with the cake when they would come to my store. So people say, love is it's very hard to be loved. It's not that hard to be loved. All you need to is give. And now you can't get anything unless you give it to others. So I always got love from people because I always made efforts to go out of my way to find love from them, and they went out of their way to make me feel loved. So the whole town on my 30th birthday, they organized a big party, and I think I send you a picture, Spence. That ONH bakery and the whole town, they made a special cake for me because I used to always say that living the dream, don't wake me up, and that was my saying. The whole town started saying that, and then they made a big cake, and then one cake with the Jack Daniel bottle, and there was a surprise for me, and there was, you will not believe, the whole town was there.
That's a great picture, Sugar. Thank you for sending me that.
Yeah, it was the whole town, whether it was the, and we had, they even had the DJ there, Indian. One of their friends was Indian, so they invited him from Chicago to DJ. I mean, I'm telling you this story is because this is the America I know. This is the people I know. This is the communities I know, and not what the news channels and the politicians want people to see. They don't want people to see the good, but there is more good than bad. That's why I never listen to these news channels what they say, is because I have lived through that. I some of the most loving and caring people.
Well, you're sharing it and bring it into you've brought something into our community that we didn't have, and I'll tell you, it's a lot of heart as far as our emotional and mental states. You showed up at the perfect time to help, especially for me, to rebalance my mind, because I'd been just, man, on this play and this all the free market, fair market fights and the corruption just really drug me down. But hearing your story absolutely blew me away and made me rethink what's really important to me and why this fair market situation is my top priority now. Because when people do come to America, I don't want them to have to face what we're currently facing in the future. You know what I mean?
Yep. And that's what it's all about. It's not about, just, it's not just about money right now. It's about, getting a fair chance, fighting for the fairness. That's right now, that's the biggest thing. And that's when I saw, the community, like Tara gave me a chance, you guys gave me a chance, all of you, I feel like, I have another family. I can, this is some of my life's very personal things I don't share, but I don't know, when I talk to you guys, listen to you guys, you feel like my own, like you are my people. I might not be born here, I might not look like, but my accent might be different, but you are still my people. You're still,
Your spirit's
so
one
I
of a kind, sir. I'll tell you that. It's
thank you.
amazing. You being able to come up here and tell your story like that. It's truly should be a book. I really think it should be a book about naturalization, coming from the ground up, community building, and just your overall outlook on life and your everything you've been through. And you're so positive, and it's really inspiring.
Thank you, and I am grateful for all your kind words, and that my telling my story is, this is half the story. I will, if you guys won't have time, some other day I can tell the half story. But telling my story is my main goal is not just, because I might to be. I never gave up, and I could have gave up when I could, but I never gave up because there is hope. There's a hope, no matter how worse it might look to you bad right now, but life changes. It's just a phase of life. We all go through phases of life, good, bad. It's not always good, it's not always bad. But when we just have to keep your chin up, health strong, and it will pass. I had a time, when I didn't had a car. I had to walk 10 miles when I moved to Ohio. you know i i I lost a lot of money. I don't want to say something bad about, but I had very close friend who was in from India, from with me, and I lost a lot of money because they did something, and I went into a lot of debt. I trusted them, but there was a point I didn't even had a money to pay my payment, so I had to sell my car. But I walked 10 miles. I used to live in Troy, Ohio, and there was a, but luckily I had a CDL license, so I one way my wife would drop, and then because she has to go to work next morning, and I would walk 10 miles. There's sometimes it's 8-9 degree weather, and I would just dress up, put my monkey hat on, so only my eyes get cold, but I didn't give up because I didn't know how to give up. I don't know. I just I that that this is what what the people in this country put in me, especially Racine, they put something in me like you can go anywhere in the world and you will still be successful as because you don't give up. They just that because that appreciation, love they gave me, it's like that's like fuel in me. It keeps me like, and I keep getting, wherever I go, like you guys, your kind words, for me, this is my success. Money, yes, we all need, money is a part of our life. It's not the heart of our lives. So everything else, I just want to tell everyone, don't give up, and it'll get better. We are in the right direction. It's just face of life. Good and bad, they're both faces of life. Bad doesn't always last, good doesn't always last. It's a circle of life.
Absolutely. Sugar, that was amazing, man. I really appreciate it. I wondered if you're up for if people have any questions for you.
Sure.
Okay,
Can I say something real quick? Sorry.
Yeah.
Shug, your words just resonate so much with me. I think your story is beautiful, and I'm so glad that you have so much courage in you. You came up here today to talk about your life story, and I just love you so much. You're just a great person in this community, and just keep doing you, and 8 strong together, man. That's what it's all about.
Thank you, Jen. And Jen,
Well, thank you, Shug. Thank
you
you.
know,
It's your
this,
words. It's you. It's your positivity that you bring to this community each and every day. You know that, right?
thank you, Jen.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are, come in here and, to have my own house, have my own kids, I raise my kids. I have a very loving and caring life partner. And, to have my parents, when they will come here, when I will see the pride in their eyes, like their son was, he was, my parents never said anything bad, but, when my uncles and other people would say, that he's not good for nothing. And, when I just live to see that pride in their eyes, that their son was worth it. And, and so I can take care of them and be thankful to them for all their sacrifices my mom and my dad gave for me. I can never thank them enough. I'm sorry.
It's okay, sugar. It's okay.
I'm sorry, guys.
You don't
I
have
don't
to.
know.
You don't have to be sorry. You do not have to be sorry. We love
Yeah,
you. We're here for you. We support you.
yeah, I just gotta hop in. Like, just hearing your story, man, it's just like inspiration. For all people that think they, even the people that have grown up in the U.S., all their life and don't, even some of us that don't know what bad actually is, and when they complain about their day, it's like, they listen to your story and it's like, holy shit, like, I have it good, but it instills a lot of faith, or restores a lot of faith in me that that there are good people in this world, and it makes me happy to hear that you've been accepted as much as you've been accepted here in the U.S. I mean, I definitely can't say that I know what moving to a foreign country is like and living there and expected to make it on my own, but like, dude, if anybody needs, a spirit lift, dude, it's you're it. This goes beyond AMC. I mean, full disclosure, when this first started in January, I mean, I was in it at sub $2. Of course, I day traded it, quite a few times, but then the story was much bigger. Now, I mean, I'm underwater in my position, but you know what? I'm not fucking selling. This is for everybody. This is tough things don't come easy. Getting change, it's not easy, and you've kind of showed that you just you keep going and going and going, and I mean, you listen to this. I was looking forward to this call so much. I was just so stoked to hear your story. And dude, I just you're an inspiration to everybody, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
And
kind words.
our country is lucky to have you here.
Yes.
No, I know. I am lucky, man. I am lucky that this country gave me opportunity. I didn't have to prove my worth to anything. I just had to prove myself because sometimes,
Have.
and that's, when my
I,
parents
I,
will
I would.
come, that's
There are plenty of people that don't deserve to be in this country that are from here, that have never left, and they know here. And the way that they talk about our country, sometimes they should be listening to you, and having a little more, uh, just a little better feeling towards being here. Not everything is as shitty as they want to make it out to be, and be a little more appreciative of the country because the people that come here seem to be very appreciative. And I just, dude, you're an inspiration, man. And I hope more people get to hear your story.
thank you. Thank you for
But
your
thanks,
words.
man. And I'll pass it off. But dude, you're awesome. Just keep grinding, keep doing what you're doing. You know, be
Thank you,
be
brother.
Mr. Happy because dude, you make me happy. Listen to you talk. So I'm gonna pass the mic back to you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for your words.
Yeah.
Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore.
Let's fucking go, baby. Sugar to the moon.
Yeah. Mr.
Oh,
Happy
yeah.
to the moon. What's up, Jared?
What's up, everybody? Hey, Sugar Man, I've been waiting for this, and dude, from a total stranger, I love you, man. Like, I really do.
I
And
love you guys too, brother.
and
I
I'm
love all of
freaking,
you.
I'm coming to Ohio probably this coming summer, and you owe me some goat curry and a nice biryani.
You better believe it. You better believe it. I will make sure of that. And
Count
I'm
me
thankful
in.
for all of you guys, man. I'm thankful
Yep.
for your words.
And I'm gonna bring you something too. So I really want to do that, and
You just come up. Don't bring anything. You just come up. Your words, that means more than anything, man. Just come up. I will make a plan. We only live 3.5 hour drive from here, so you will just come up and we'll make a plan.
Let's meet up at Cedar Point, you guys.
Oh my gosh, Cedar Point. I love that.
Yeah.
No, I'm down for that. I'm from Indy.
There you go.
But I appreciate you, man, and just don't change. This world needs more beautiful people like you, and I don't know, just don't change. I love you and appreciate you.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you, brother. I love all of you guys.
I wanted to say thank you for basically sharing your life story with us. It actually hit me like very, very, very deep in my life. Thank you for that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Sugar, I will say, since I've been in the calls and you have spoken and posted, it's sometimes I get so wrapped up in everyday life that I just kind of walk around on autopilot and I don't realize that the random person saying hi at the register or at the coffee shop or, just walking in the park, sometimes I'm just like, hey, what's up? All right, whatever, you know what I mean? But you've kind of made me rethink and check myself every morning to realize, like, when somebody takes the time to say hi to you and be nice to you, you should definitely try to let that resonate in your mind and do it back. It's something I think we've all become very antisocial during the pandemic, and it's made me think about how I present out in public in my daily life more, becoming more human again, because I feel like the pandemic has just turned my brain into an AI instead with no emotion. So I'm really thankful for everything you've been doing, because it's breaking me out of a clouded thought process of my life. So,
and that's Spence, that's what it's. You never know. Sometimes just some people, just like you guys, took out your important part of your life, just to listen to me. You don't know sometimes how many people just maybe few minutes, if you don't know what people go through, and just sometimes just a simple, are you okay, and is everything okay, just simple things, sometimes kindness doesn't hurt, but it's little things in life that goes, when you start finding happiness in little things, you can never be unhappy. And that's
All
what
right,
I
guys.
realized.
I gotta say it. I want to see the whole room. Throw up hearts. Come on, guys. Whole room. Apes. Throw up hearts right now. Come on.
You guys, and this is the thing, this whole community, it's it's very loving, very caring, and that's what the other side, they can't stand this. They can stand people as one because they are so used to divide, manipulate, people fighting on the name of race, color, religion, and here we are all fighting together for a one cause. That's what 1% is scared of. They're not just scared of AMC and GameStop, they're scared of the community, because it's the community that made GameStop and AMC and everyone
Hell
else.
yes.
And everyone else, it's whether a 200,000 follower YouTuber or influencer, anybody. Everybody is because of everyone here. It's nobody can say, I became on my own. Nobody has. It's all honest, hardworking people that care, support, and each other. That's how anybody, whoever it's there, it's because of them. So it's a proud, I am very proud to be a part of this, history. It's as being written. I'm just lucky that, one day, maybe 10 years from now, 20 years now, when our kids will look back, that, we all stood up to 1%. And that's what they are scared of, because they're not used to people standing up for them, standing to them. People are used to just give
Preach
up.
on,
And
sugar. Preach on. AMC the moon, baby.
I
AMC
can't
to the
wait to
moon.
be
AMC the
written
moon.
about in
Let's fucking
economic
go.
textbooks.
Yep.
What was that, Justin? Sorry.
I said I can't wait to be written about in economic textbooks, and people talking about how a group of people can come together and actually invoke some real change and some equality. And that's what what I see is down on the day, deep in the red. It's like, dude, this is no one said change was easy, and it's like it's just motivation. And I just think about, man, I can't wait till my kids are in school and they get to read about how a bunch of dumb fucking money people just absolutely bashed Wall Street. They became the new Wall Street, and
Yep.
that's what I look forward to.
Bunch of smooth brain apes
I
here,
can't.
huh? That's what we are.
I can't
Damn
wait to
straight.
teach it, because the way it's going in New Mexico with the teachers not being around, they've got the National Guard in here helping out classrooms. I might have to go teach. I might not have a choice, so we'll see. Paul, what's up, brother?
Hey, Manny, how you doing, buddy? I really enjoyed the story of your life. You made my wife cry. I had my wife come and listen.
I'm
Oh,
sorry. I didn't mean. I am Paul. I'm sorry. My was not my attention.
no, it's all good. No, it's all good.
Good tears.
Yeah, what's really good about it is my wife knows pretty much everything that's going on with our community through me, and I talk about all you guys. Yes, all positive. Every one of you I talk positive about, okay? But yeah, Manny, no, you moved her heart, and you moved mine, and I think it's wonderful. I know listening to all your stories from over time, that you coming on here to speak your heart like you did is a brave thing to do, and I appreciate it. And you helped me put together the pieces that you brought together from over different space calls and that, and things you've written, and I really appreciate you, brother. I really do.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you
But
so
Manny,
much.
I'm going to tell you, even though you moved me, I'm still not going to babysit your kids.
See, that's not good. Come on now.
Well, I'll do it. I still have my telescope. I'll watch them from there, okay? If that's all right.
Okay, all right. That works for me. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for
No,
your
no
approval.
problem, Sugar. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
I really love having you with us, and you are one in the cog that glues us all together. And without you, we would be less.
No,
So
don't say that. Thank you, but that mean your words.
okay,
Thank you.
it's
Your
true though,
words.
man. It's true. So,
Thank you.
anyways, Manny, you know, I love you. I love everyone else in here.
I love you guys too. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
no
Thank
problem.
you.
I'm gonna turn off the mic now so someone else can jump up.
I see the Deekster just came up. What's up, buddy? What's
Yeah, we
good?
got him up here. What's up, Deke?
Hello?
Hey, Deke.
Yeah, unmute, dude.
Oh, hey.
Oh, Asian, what's up, bud? Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine, Asian. What's up?
Oh no, I just wanted to say thanks for letting me talk. I just wanted to say yeah, Sugar. I heard the whole story, man. And as a former refugee coming from Vietnam after the war, and what my parents had to go through, escaping that country for us to have a better life. Thank you for the story, man. You really got to me. You know, you really touched my heart. So the struggles that your parents had to go through, you had to go through in a new country, I totally understand 100%, man. And that was great. I get it. I really do. But thanks for the story. That's all I wanted to say. And I love this. I love this community in here. You guys always let me talk. Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate Sugar. I appreciate Spence, Jen, everybody in here.
Thank you, brother.
But yeah, man.
Thank you. I appreciate your words.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, go ahead, Deke.
Yeah, Deke, take it away.
Is this thing on? Is this thing on?
You're on. It's working. Let's go, baby.
So, all right.
Cheers.
First of all, Sugar, the next time you say you're sorry for something in this call, I'm going to kick your ass because you got fucking nothing to be sorry about. You walked into spaces and you fucking overwhelmed them with goodness, which I fucking hate using that word because it just doesn't encapsulate it. But you just came in and what is another stupid saying I could say? A breath of fresh air. There's this turmoil, there's this undercurrent that sometimes invades these calls, even on the good ones. And you just brighten it the fuck up. You turn it on its head. You don't even see it in the fucking corner. There's something about the way you look at things that I need, that we all need. And to be able to listen here and to know you is a fucking honor. And some of my favorite moments are some of our stupidest, because for those who don't know, he and I troll each other because we don't like Hedgies trolling ourselves. So we just troll each other because it's way more fucking fun. But dude, you're a fucking rock star. Hearing the story, it just emphasizes everything that I already thought, believed, and knew. And that's what I think that we hopefully have found over time, is that the character that's behind the voice, the heart that's behind the motivation, and what
I
you
love you,
do.
man. I love you, brother. Thank you for your words. You know, you are one of the very big part of this community. You know, like you say, we troll each other. You know, that's what it's fun. You know, that's what I feel like you are my own. You know, like you can't do with this other stray. You know, people like like a lot of the short salad, but we can do it with each other because we know we can take each other's jokes and stuff. And that's not that's a very big thing. So you are a part of us. You're a part of me, and I'm glad to have you. I love you guys all.
Well, when people say I hodl for you, you hodl for me, just know that, like, this is what they're fighting against. This is the kind of person that they want to fucking take down. This is the kind of person that Charles Gasparino fucking lips off about. Think about that for a second. Just think about that for a second, because he exemplifies everything that's good about this community that I've seen from way back in Reddit, although a lot gets lost in translation. But there are so many good-hearted people doing so much, either behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. But these are the people that they're trying to fucking destroy. And
and we won't let them destroy it, no matter what
no,
happens. They can do whatever they want, because
it just
that's what they are scared of, is one together as one. That they're not used to this stuff, people standing shoulder to shoulder, good days, bad days. That's what they are worried about. They're not worried about just one stock or two stock. They're worried about all of us standing up to them. They are not used to this.
Thank you, dude. I'm just glad to know you, and I'm glad you stumbled into space.
Thank you, brother. I love you, man. Thank you.
That was wonderful. And Sugar, man, why your story resonates with me so much is because at 18, I had the opportunity to see the rest of the world. And the first time that I crossed the Kuwaiti border into Iraq and I saw a young girl walk out of a trash heap in the cold, wet months of the desert season with no shoes and a raggedy shirt on, just looking to see if we were going to throw some water or food or candy off of our convoy, it shattered my entire reality to the core, to where I grew up not needing, we weren't rich or nothing, but I needed for nothing. I grew up in a small town in Beaverton in the woods and got to go to a good school and got to have clothes on my back and a loving family. And I took everything for granted for so long until I saw other parts of the world and how some children have to live and grow up. And the only thing I can ever think of almost every night is I wish I could just go take that kid out of that shithole and give her an opportunity. And hearing your story just, it warms my heart so much to hear that other people are coming over and being successful. And I know you would do the same thing for anybody, brother. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. It was just absolutely amazing.
And that's the one that Spence, that's, if I have the utmost respect for someone, is people, those who have served, selflessly for their country, for the people, those who don't even know what you guys have to go through. And a lot of people, they are just not the same. And they just don't come same, because they have never seen that kind of fatalities, that what you guys had to live through. So I have a lot of respect for all of you guys. I have some of my friends, here too, they served in the army, and one of them didn't make it back. But I have a lot of respect for people in the uniform, and I wish there was, you guys were more well taken care of. As much as you give to our country back, politicians on, it doesn't matter who comes in, they don't take care of our people like the way they should be.
Well, dude, you make every single second I spent in the military worth it. Your story, your positivity, your karma, everything, dude. And I appreciate you for that, because I was looking for a reason why for so long. Why were we there? Why did we do what we do? And coming home and seeing American citizens like you makes me extremely fucking proud. So
thank you, man. We are proud of you too.
Well,
wow. That's all I
how
can
do
say
you
is wow.
even?
I'm just my heart just feels so full right now. Guys, this is the way. This is what being an 8 means. Like, this is the way. I love you all. It was just beautiful, Sugar, to hear your story. Spence, you too. I mean, and everything you've been through. We've all been through things. And life can get hard sometimes, but we have each other. Just know that. So,
yep.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry now. Like, God, I love you guys.
Let's fix this. Let's fix this country, man. Let's do this. Let's do it right this time and not leave this disaster looming for the next generation. Everything today just got me so pumped up, man. The hearings, the BSTX, everybody talking online. Sugar's story tonight was absolutely amazing. I am dying to just get into cutting clips and making froggy leaps for this one, buddy. It's amazing. Everybody has said such wonderful things tonight.
I gotta say, when Gasparino was on and saying that, they blame millennials and all these new investors for creating all the issues, I laugh because I'm just like, no, we're going to be the ones that actually fix it. So I look forward to our generation making the changes, and they're happening. May not be fast, but it'll happen. It's a matter of time, and their best thing is knowing that they are scared while all of us are not.
Absolutely. I think on that, man, what a powerful. I don't think there's any way to even top anything we've said. So, Sugar, man, I want to say thank you for coming up and telling us your about your life and your journeys, and thank you for being here with us. Thank everybody for being here with us. I don't necessarily have to end the call. If you guys want to have open conversation, please go for it.
I just gotta say sugar to the fucking moon, dude.
Yeah.
Sugar to the moon, baby.
Hey,
Let's fucking
no,
go.
let's say apes to the moon, retail,
Yeah.
hard work and honest retail investors to the moon, all together as one to the moon, together as one.
Preach it,
Damn
Love
straight.
you all.
And let's make the Cedar Point thing actually happen, because that sounds pretty fucking awesome.
Hell yeah.
Love you guys, man. Thank you for giving me a chance, and thank you
Love
for
you,
appreciating.
Love you, Shug.
Thank
Love
you.
it, sugar love.
So I guess on that, we'll just open the floor up to whatever you guys want to talk about. If you want to ask Sugar questions, go back to BSTX or just talk AMC, movies, whatever, man. We'll go for let's go till 6:30. My dog's sitting here pouting at me right now because I'm not playing. He's breaking my heart. So you guys go for it, whatever you want. If it's your first time, come up and talk. Literally, if you've never talked on a space call, come up.
Coming up. So don't be shy.
Don't be shy, people.
What's funny is I went to go see one of my trolling sugar tweets, and I was going to share it, and I thought, ooh, I can't share that.
Just copy the tweet. And
No, I'm saying it's inappropriate. That's
what
I'm saying.
Oh man. So I guess I'll do a quick rundown then. Today, AMC held pretty strong. We had some decent action on it holding against the market. Then it kind of started dropping off. It came back a little in the aftermarket, and I personally believe it was on news of Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and the hearings coming after all the bad entities that we've been fighting against, like Apollo, the big funds that control all the money, that have consolidated all the wealth into private investment firms. They're really hot on it. Gary Gensler's going after dark pools. You got Adam Aaron tweeting like a boss, being extremely aggressive against the shorts, along with Ryan Cohen. Man, it's all lining up, guys. The stars are absolutely aligning. I see it. We've all seen it. The predictions are coming true. Conspiracy theories are now full-blown on truths. And I do want to say too, Justin brought up Gasparino. Why? And this is my challenge to him. Are you attacking?
Been silent.
Why are you attacking Main Street and retail and trying to group? Yes, there are some apes that are out of control that say stuff, and anybody can say they're an ape, and you can try to group anybody into being an ape. But that's like me saying, okay, Gasparino's the same as the people who work at CNN that are in trouble right now. Why are you going after retail, Gasparino? Come in a call and explain it to us so everybody can understand your position. Because we truly, me personally, I was hoping you were going to be the one to break all these stories that we've been talking about for years. I just tell the news fair, man, not one-sided. Tell it fair. Be a balance. And I think a perfect example like that is Charles Payne, man. And his show today that he did talking about price spoofing is on Twitter. I've tweeted it so you can follow the link.
So I screen recorded a bunch of spoofing today. Right around I was like 1957, 58 price level. I mean, I was watching the bid ask table. I mean, it was just literally up, down, up, down, up, down. I mean, just, and then you get it to drop a cent and then up, down. I called the SEC like 5 times today, and of course, no one answered. I left,
Nice.
I left 5 voicemails of like, hey,
They're always
guys,
so helpful.
oh, I know. But, there was a lady that I talked to once that, I told her, I said, you guys, the longer this goes on, the less and less trust this next generation is going to have, because we're literally just watching. We're watching her unfold. Everybody's getting cheated, and there's only a few players that want to step up and go, retail's right. You guys are fucking this up, But the other thing I'll say is, I'll be interested to see what all comes of everything with Gasparino, because, everybody knows there's been a million screenshots taken of it, of his tweets, and him even implying his friendship with Ken Griffin. I'm surprised Citadel's lawyers haven't sent him a cease and desist, telling him, shut the fuck up. You're really gonna, you're gonna screw the pooch here. And
Well,
he's gonna get subpoenaed and go, so what do you know? You apparently are tweeting out to everybody, and it's no secret that you talk with him, so spill it. What's going on?
If you can't see the agenda there with Cobblecord, with everything he's been saying, with all the picks from Kramer about Netflix, Kramer has been pushing these stocks that just took an absolute dump for months at their all-time highs, and look at the market now. How is Melvin Capital still operating? And I tweeted the other day, I said, Melvin Capital would have been out of business already if their pimp Ken Griffin wouldn't have bailed them out.
Yeah, and Ken Griffin's going to be, he already came back for what, $500 million, and then Citadel here is getting their first, big infusion of cash in God knows how long. I wonder why. And Griffin still says, Gabe Plotkin's one of the greatest investors of his time. Have you looked at his portfolio? I think it's a little more red than mine. And
they got crushed so hard on Affirm and Facebook and Facebook specifically.
My fiance, I won't go into too much detail, but she's her dad sold the business, so she has some money that's with JP Morgan, and I had to sit with her at a meeting with them, and I specifically asked them, they're like, you guys have any questions? Because we were like choosing a financial advisor, and I said, so are you guys short AMC? And the guy laughed at me, and I just had a straight face. I was like, dude, you think I'm kidding? Like, you guys are about to potentially manage
Are you on a headset, Justin?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's breaking up really bad.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time hearing Justin too.
Hold up. Let me kill this.
Okay. Yeah.
Here, you guys go ahead. I'll be home here in a minute. I'll have
I was gonna say, if you have
okay. Well, we're probably gonna close her down at 6:30. I think I'll let Paul finish up here, and then we'll take some last comments from the panel. And
no worries, guys.
I'm starving.
Thank you for having me up. Sugar, you're the man. Keep doing it, and I can't wait for the next call.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Love you guys.
Yeah, I put my hand up because I see my buddy Mike Peterman in here. I just thought maybe he'd want to come up and talk about what's going on in China. He's been following that lots, but if you're closing down the call, yeah, I guess it can wait for another one.
I think I'm going to host a call tomorrow to cover blockchain, BSTX, AMC. I want to talk about Evergrande because it looks like they defaulted on another debt again this week. So I think did China see some assets on them?
Yeah, Mike's got a good handle on it. I don't know if he's able to come on the call tomorrow. I hope he does because I like to hear what he has to say on it. But anyway, But anyways, AMC to the moon. Where's Anya? How come she's not on here telling us sugar to the
I
moon?
will go get her. She's upstairs with her dada. So I will go get her right now. And
let's let her. That's right. Let's let her close out the call. I would appreciate that.
I'm down with that, man.
All right, give me one second, guys.
Okay, I'm so excited to hear her.
Okay, I need to
I see the moon.
Let's fucking go, baby. Yes, I'm sorry, I said that with my toddler. Say it one more time, Anya.
I see the
Yay!
Yay!
More confident and stern in saying it every time. That's bullish.
It was
gets that
good to
confidence from her
hear.
mama.
Right
I don't
on,
like
guys.
these new icons.
It's
confusing me.
Well, they keep putting the icons when they pop up for me right over the mute button. So it's like I'm gonna write Twitter tomorrow and just I don't know. We'll see. I want my hundreds back.
Me too.
Hey, how does it get 100? How do you change your icons?
You go back to the old version of the app.
I really just wish they had the old 100s back. You know, it's just oh great.
All right, guys, everyone, thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. Jen, thank you for co-hosting. Please follow Jen. Please follow Sugar. Everybody in the panel. I'm
go
pumped,
watch
man.
Uncharted tonight. Go watch
there
Uncharted
you go.
tonight. It's
Yeah,
gonna be awesome.
I see moon.
That's right, baby. AMC the moon, baby.
We're swing to give us our end call rundown about going to your local AMC theaters, man.
Swing's a listener right now.
Guys, go to the movies. Buy popcorn. AMC On Demand is getting better and better. I'm getting more of my library filled up. We're the customer, we're the investor, we're the consumer. We can make the company do what we want if we keep this up. It's absolutely amazing. Invest on your own personal wants and wills. Nothing we ever give is financial advice. We're just a community of people trying to make the world a better place by creating fair markets. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you all.
Spencer, let me hit it real quick.
I was going to say, we got to let this guy go.
This is how I do it. Hado.
Yeah, boy.
Hey, guys. What a phenomenal call. Everybody, thank you for coming on YouTube. I'm going to play this Charles Payne piece real quick. I think it's pretty amazing. It'll let me go back and I froze up on here. Oh, there we go. How do I do this?
I've been doing this for over 30 years. I've taken companies public as a broker. I took my own company public, and I've been a consultant. I know this industry inside and out, and this has been one area that has upset me tremendously for a long time. Now, market purists and these rich hedge funds folks always say, hey, shorting is good, it helps liquidity, it keeps the market running, it's a pretty good thing. What's not a good thing is if you issued 10 shares in Brett Bear Incorporated, and somebody saw that it was worth $100 and thought, maybe I can drive this to $1. It's a great company. So, and somehow they were able to borrow 20 shares. Now, you only issue 10, but somehow they can borrow 20 and sell it and keep selling it and pound it and pound it and pound it and pound it into submission. And along the way, all the investors who believed in Brett Bear I've been doing this for over 30 hedge funds, and Brett thought maybe I can drive this to $1. It's a great company. So, and somehow they were able to borrow 20 shares. Now, you only issue 10, but somehow they can borrow 20 and sell it and keep selling it and pound it and pound it and pound it and pound it into submission. And along the way, all the investors who believed in Brett Bear Incorporated also lose their shirt. And this is what's happening. This is not about trading. This is about a cottage industry of very wealthy billionaires who have been able to pound stocks into complete submission. It's not about a trade. It's not about them thinking something is oversold. It's about them thinking that a stock is hopeless, that there's no brokerage firms covering it, or that most brokerage firms have a hold rating on it, maybe a sell rating. No one's going to come to its defense. They're not looking for a trade. They're looking for total submission. So all of a sudden, you get a bunch of young investors, mostly novice investors, excited, and they start to notice, hey, if you buy these stocks up, sometimes they get squeezed. So the person that's shorted your stock at 10 may have to buy it at 12, may have to buy it at 14. They start getting a little nervous, and on and on and on. This is what we call a classic short squeeze. It's the ultimate short squeeze. Now, what compounds the error, the problem, in addition to these hedge funds already being able to borrow unlimited amounts of stock and artificially sell it, right? This is not a real market. They are making a market to the downside. Now, on top of this, today you have all of these platforms, including Robinhood, and I say shame on them, who have stopped these same investors from buying the stock. So guess what? They can only sell it. Okay, they can sell it, the shorts can sell it, of course it's going to go down. It's really a serious injustice, and if something's going to be done, something should be done on the ability.
So that's pretty amazing that Charles Payne come out and talked about that today, especially after the hearings, which you can find on Bernie Sanders' Twitter page, where him and Elizabeth Warren came out and basically just called out all these bad actors in the market and these big financial industries that we're actively fighting against right now. So super, super excited. Guys, everybody, thank you for coming to the YouTube feed. I hope you enjoyed it. Once the video is done processing, I'll be making some Froggy Leap clips. Nothing on here is financial advice. This is just people talking, sharing ideas, and me presenting the information. So big time thanks, everybody. Have a good night.